black car will be rather difficult to miss. And by the way, the gentleman is usually in quite a rush.
Just for the taste of it, Diet Coke.
Hold it! Hold it right there! Let's see if you're really ready to watch this movie. Okay, popcorn? Check. Soft drink? Check. Warner Brothers ball cap? Aha! You can't watch a Warner Brothers movie without a Warner Brothers ball cap.
Listen, Doc, what if they ordered a Warner Brothers ball cap so they had it next time?
Well,
Here's all you have to do, folks. Just send for this.
A new Warner Brothers catalog.
Use it to order your Warner Brothers ball cap. And while you're at it, you can order stuff like T-shirts, posters, movie books, ties. That's neckties.
It's all in the catalog, which you can get now by dialing this 900 number.
So when you get a chance, call...
No, they have to call now. They can't watch the movie until they order their new catalog.
you're despicable.
Don't forget to call, folks.
Hello, everyone. I'm Captain Logan. Right next to me is Brandon Grimm.
Hello, everybody.
And we've also got Austin the Day Ghost.
I just want to watch Looney Tunes now.
Tonight,
Never a bad choice.
we're going to do our, count it, 11th Batman 89 commentary on the channel. This one will be different in that it's not what we told everyone we were doing. It is the only time we've ever done it live, and Brandon and Austin are here to do the commentary. These guys have never been with me to do one of these, and despite the sheer number of times that I've done this movie, I'm still not sick of it, and I still was weirdly excited all day long to do this.
Well, that's awesome. That's what I like to hear. When Cap's excited, I'm excited.
Sure. Austin, how well do you know this movie, sir?
I know it very well. So that's.
I think I've seen it like 4 times with you alone.
We'll see how difficult it is for Austin not to just quote the thing the entire time. Because I have such a hard time with that one of the commentaries I did was just a quote along. We just quoted it the whole time. Actually, I've done 2 like that. And different forms. Brandon's only seen this a couple times.
Well, I've seen it at least 4 with you, but
4? No!
Yeah?
We've only done it a couple of times!
No. We've done
Really?
this could
4
be the
is a
4th
couple.
time.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Okay, so, folks are already leaving, which is what I kind of thought would probably happen with this. But for folks that really like this movie and want to hang out with us, we're going to have a good time tonight. We're going to give you just a minute to pull up the correct movie for this evening, as opposed to the one, Happy April Fool's Day, everybody, that we told folks that we were going to do. And it is available right now on HBO Max, but if you want to get out your DVD or Blu-ray, however you want to watch it, get it to timestamp 0 past all the menus, and get ready to press play when I say now. And we'll see if I can come up with even one thing that I've never said before about this movie. But also excited to see what people have to say in the comments as we move along, especially blindsiding you with this, and see if anybody happens to bring up something that I have never in 32 years thought of watching this movie. AMC Comics, judging by Austin's backdrop, it seems Cap fooled him as well. Yeah, he's just changed it now.
It's true. He really pulled the wool over me.
No, Austin was actually well aware of this.
I also, Cap, you forgot to put the screen back, so I'm still just looking at me.
Well, thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for sticking around. If you're doing that, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the movie. If anybody comes in late and is very surprised that we're not talking about Spider-Man, feel free to let them know in the comments if I don't get a chance to do it.
Let them know they've
What
been
we're
April Fooled.
actually doing, yeah, indeed. So, let's go ahead and get right into it, everybody. Movie's about 2 hours long. We're going to get started. Oh, I always forget about that, Austin. This movie was actually, strangely long for the time. This movie is 2 hours and 6 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
This movie's 2 minutes.
And your
Wow.
average for a blockbuster or action movie at the time was a lot closer to 145.
Yeah, I was thinking it was about 145. I'd forgotten it was 2 hours.
Tom put in $2 super chat to complain about money he spent to watch Spider-Man. So sorry about that, Tom. It's April Fool's Day. A lot of people earlier in the day already kind of guessed that this was a joke, but I just think it's... First, I'm sorry, but also I think it's pretty funny that he just spent money to complain about spending money. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it, everybody. Get ready to press play when I say now, and we're going to do it. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now. Brandon just found out what we were doing. Brandon, did you think it was going to be another video game movie?
No, actually. It did not occur to me what it was going to be. I actually kept wondering what we could be watching. I should have known. Like, you told me it was a commentary, and I couldn't. But I need to see all the rest of the movies in this era, because like I've only seen the one after this like one time, and
really?
I don't remember it.
You've never seen Batman Forever?
Just once.
That's not the one after this.
Huh?
That's Batman
No,
Returns.
I've seen any of the ones after this.
But what you said was I've seen the one after this.
Yes, I've seen the one after this one time.
So that made it sound like that's the only one you've
well,
seen.
I wasn't
this?
finished with the whole thought. I've seen the one after this one time. I've seen the one after that 2 times. What's the one? Just making sure I get this correct. What's the one with Mr. Freeze?
So Batman Robin. So this whole commentary
Okay,
is just going to be like Brandon not knowing anything about Batman movies.
Well, I mean, I saw the Dark Knight stuff and everything, so.
And everything. So, Brandon, you might be shocked to know this, but this movie we refer to as Batman 89 because it came out in the year 1989.
I did know
that. Okay. All right.
It's not because it was the 89th film.
Are you aware? Are you aware that what we're filming right now is a giant bat symbol? Do you know that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Or I was wondering if it would pull out. I should have waited to see if it pulls out, and then Brandon goes, "Oh my God, that's what it was the whole time." Good job, Ray Lovejoy. I should look up and see what else that guy's edited, because I didn't know who edited this movie.
Well, there you go. You just learned something new watching it this, 800th time.
I don't know that name's going to stick with me or anything, but...
Yeah, then the next time you watch it, you'll learn it again.
This, of course, was back before Bill Finger's name was associated with Batman in credits, and it was a lot of years before that. In fact, I don't even think that was changed before Rises, right?
Yes.
I think it was just around then?
I think Rises is the first one.
Or is it the first one? Okay.
No.
Now that I'm thinking about it, no, it is BVS. Because I remember seeing articles about that. It was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And this theme is awesome. Of course. I mean, everybody loves it.
Are you behind us, or are you looking at the Monarch Theater right now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, when you said this theme, I was worried that maybe, you were a minute behind us somehow.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, exactly. I get paranoid about it.
I love how heightened, gothic style Gotham City is in this movie.
Yep.
It's just awesome.
Yeah, no, Gotham's really cool in that movie.
So one of my favorite things about this movie now is that all of the important places in Gotham exist in a 1-block radius. That's all built on this backlot, and they're all right next to each other, and the movie doesn't even pretend to hide it. That's just the geography of this
Yes.
world, and it's fantastic. You got the Monarch Theater here, and then across the way is the Flugelheim Museum, and then right next to that, or right around there, is City Hall. It's all right there.
I mean, downtown is very downtown. They got it right.
Bruce Wayne's parents are even dumber than we thought for walking down a dark alley, because they go down the only one in the city.
Right.
Yeah, I was laughing the other day. I was reading a bit more about the Sam Hamm Batman 2, and I didn't realize that the museum came back up in that movie.
In which movie?
In Sam Hamm's Batman 2 script.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where Selena Kyle works.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I read that script once and reviewed it, and it is not sticking with me, man. It was so kind of run-of-the-mill and unimpressive.
Yeah, it's not great.
A little milquetoast, that movie, or that script.
She was standing in front of a sign that said cancel something, but I couldn't read the something.
Oh, okay.
It. That was interesting.
Yeah,
Cancel drops.
I don't remember. I'm not sure what that is. But Johnny Gobbs is a thing that pops up here and there in comics. There's an occasional reference that people will throw into Johnny Gobbs.
But it's in Sam Hamm's Watchmen script.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
You've probably told me that.
Well, that was the one thing that I did like any studying for that game show that we did.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I need to know that name. And I was like, Cap probably won't ask about it for 89, but he'll probably be like, what 89 character is brought back up in the Sam Hamm Watchmen script?
And then
that'll be a question that comes up.
And then I didn't ask any Watchmen stuff. So Batman unfurling his cape, or having his cape out like that, is one of the big kind of iconic images from this movie. We use it on a lot of more like modern posters, like fan posters and things, and probably stuff directly from the studio. I don't know. I should have brought it over here, but there it is. But the figure that I just bought recently, the big. Really pretty $100 figure that I reviewed a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of promotional images for poses for that figure, and one of them is that. And I haven't figured out how to get mine to do that yet with the points of articulation, but apparently it's possible that you can get his arms to go out like this.
So it's always amused me with this movie that when Batman gets shot at the first time, it looks like he's getting, like he died.
NECA,
like,
that's the company that made
like
that
he
figure.
fell over, got shot.
Yes.
And then obviously...
Which he does a lot.
Right, so obviously it's supposed to, like, subvert your expectations when he jumps back up, but I've always just felt like that was kind of almost too funny for the movie.
Oh, sure. No, I can see that.
Well, I think it's really funny that, like, we see him, he gets shot, falls over, and then gets back up. But I also think it's funny that just for that scene, he walks at people while holding his cape up, and he never does that again. He just walks at people like that.
Exactly.
Which strikes me as kind of a movie serial move.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Austin, that you could see one of the Batmans from the serials doing that? And just like that's how they scare criminals, just walking at you like, ah!
Yeah.
Well, that was the big thing I had with the Batman, is that I think the Batman, his introduction in that movie is what 89 and The Dark Knight both kind of think they're doing, but I think it's done better.
Well, and it's going to be impossible not to make a lot of comparisons to the Batman with this, which Brandon hasn't seen yet, so let's be careful not to spoil too much.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I assumed that Brandon hadn't seen it.
I've been trying to see it for 2 weeks, and I just have not been able to get to the theater yet.
It sucks, man.
And I've been trying to make some money on the side, so before I start my new job, so...
But a lot of people have been suggesting that the Batman's version of Bruce Wayne is kind of this version, but we actually get into his head a little bit, and I agree with that to some degree.
I said, yeah.
The idea that, and I've heard a lot of other people make that suggestion, that he's real isolated and cut off, and he's not going to let even the audience in too much. But it is a character piece still for that character, kind of proving to Tim Burton, and I love this movie, and I don't mean to throw too much shade at Burton, but kind of proving to Burton, no, yeah, you can still tell a character-driven story and make a character piece about a guy who walls himself off and doesn't talk about himself too much and doesn't want to let people in. Even on film, it's harder to do than in prose, absolutely. But that always struck me more as an excuse with Burton than like a true reason for doing that.
Can I ask a question about Mr. Old Joker over here? Is the character of Jack Napier from the comics?
Nope, that's made up for this.
That was made up for this? Okay, I wondered, because we've got so many different, backgrounds of Joker over
But this
the years.
movie was so massively popular that it keeps coming back in things, and animated series, because that gets made because of this movie, but isn't exactly based on it, but uses the same melody of the theme at least, it uses Jack Napier, and that's kind of weird. with that series, because that series is doing a real traditional, you're never going to fully understand that Joker's background kind of Joker, and keeping it real shaded and in mystery. But then you get Masked Phantasm, which you've seen.
Yes.
And you do get, okay, his name really was Jack Napier, and he was he was an enforcer for the mob and all that. But that movie doesn't put the origin together. It doesn't tell you exactly how he became the Joker. And Batman isn't involved in that because he didn't even know that Jack Napier was the Joker. He just looks at a photo with Jack Napier's smile and then draws and then draws lipstick on it and goes, "Oh my God, it's the Joker!"
I don't think they could have done that in '89. I don't know if that would work in live action.
I'd like to see it attempted, though.
He puts it into his mega computer and it like draws it for him.
So I don't know if I've had a chance to say this in an actual commentary yet, but I did review Sam Hamm's first draft script, which should make me dislike this movie significantly, but somehow that hasn't happened, going back even doing rewatches. But it's a more certainly coherent, cohesive story with the third act that makes sense, and is a lot more character-driven, a lot more actually about Batman, even though he's still very isolated and walled off and isn't sharing much. But Knox and Vicky Vale's side story in that is, I guess that, converges with the A story, is actually unmasking Batman, like figuring out his actual identity. So when Bruce Wayne in the third act says, "You got in," she actually did. Like, she and Knox are investigating, and that's the mystery on their side, and they figure out that Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same person. And Knox has a really good tragic death at the end of that version that I really wish was still in the movie. And really ironically is the only character so far anyway, until Keaton comes back in The Flash, that from this continuity has come back in something. So in the original Sam Hamm draft, Knox dies, and then 32 years later we do Crisis on Infinite Earths with CW, and that's the only character from this that's in that. He's supposed to be dead.
And it's funny because as a kid I always thought Knox died in that movie. Somehow I missed that he shows up again at the end, but I thought he died when the gas goes off at the end and he gets hit by the car.
That's really funny. No, his last line in the movie is, "How do we call him?" And then Gordon says, "You gave us the signal!"
Apparently as a kid I missed that. I was like, oh, that guy's dead now.
The guy behind Jack Napier, what was his name? The guy holding the gun.
Was that just Bob the Goon, or was that a different Goon?
That's what I wanted to know.
I wasn't looking, I forget.
Yellow-haired, kind of bobbed.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure that's Bob the Goon in that scene.
I did a commentary with Dan on Conan the Destroyer a while back.
Oh, yeah.
Bob the Goon is one of the main characters in that movie.
Is he any good?
It blew my mind. I don't know. He's like the comedy relief.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. And he looks like... oh my god, who does he look like in that movie?
Did it feel too much like that guy from Judge Dredd?
Well, that's what I mentioned in it. I was like, if this were made a little bit later, it would have been Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider, yeah. That was the first thing I thought of when you said that.
Yeah, but it's Bob the Goon instead. He's done like a ton of stuff. It's crazy.
Goes without saying, but there are a lot of references and mentions and things that I probably won't go to this time around, just because I've talked about them so many times before. So, like, I could talk about the Bob Kane drawing, but there's no reason to. I've done that. Unknown Passenger, which Gotham City do you prefer, the one from '89 or the Batman 2022? They're different animals, they're different things for different kinds of projects. I think just for personal preference with aesthetic, it's still this one, and I don't know that that's ever, I don't know what could ever change that for me, but, could that movie had been like a little bit, because it's got something of a noir vibe like this does, but not anything like to the degree that this has in how heightened and stylized it is. like, could that have gone that far? I'm not sure it could have without looking like it was ripping this movie off. Like, it definitely needed to have its own feel and aesthetic, and it does that.
It kind of blends the two.
This is looking at Blade Runner
4
as
and
much
the
as it
Nolan
is
trilogy.
Miller, and I think that is looking like 80-90% Miller, maybe. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying it kind of blends the original 4 more heightened Gotham with the Nolan movies.
With Nolan, yeah.
It's just like a city.
Well, and what I don't like about it is that you can still, like with the Nolan movies, at least with Dark Knight and Rises especially, you can still tell some of the places they shot it, and I want it to feel like a thing completely out of reality. Mm-hmm. And I've said this before, but I don't even like that there are like real life businesses that you can see in a couple places in that movie. It's blink and you miss it, but here we're not concerned at all with realism with this movie, which is a double-edged sword with it, absolutely. Because I think it takes some liberties with story and characterization because it's so unbelievable and unrealistic and in such an unreality. So it does think that it can break some narrative rules for no good reason, I think.
I also love the statues of the Schumacher Gotham.
Yeah, I do too.
That are like impossibly big. It's awesome.
When this movie came out, did we know that Jack Nicholson was the Joker?
What do you mean?
Was that in the previews?
Well, yeah.
It was
never
the big
seen
thing they
previews for
told
this
it
movie.
on.
Even back then, you wouldn't be able to hide a thing like that.
Okay.
But they needed somebody that high profile to sell that movie. I mean, that's a lot of why it was as huge as it was.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, the difference between...
But I mean, have you never seen an 89 movie poster? Like,
Not
it's
that I
Keaton and
recall.
Nicholson. Like,
Not that I recall, honestly.
That was the cool thing with the new one, is that they pretty much, outside of like the last trailer, kept the Riddler actor like out of it.
Yeah. I like the foreshadowing when he's holding the Joker card.
I'm sorry, I had too many things happening at once. Did you say they should have left the Riddler out of the trailer for the Batman? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying they did because they pretty much did. Outside of like a few shots, they like kept the Riddler out of the advertising.
Oh, I thought you were suggesting that you should have sold that movie without even knowing who the villain was, and I don't think you can do that. But yeah,
it's like until the very last trailer, we didn't even see the actor that played the Riddler in any of the trailers.
Yeah, no, that was smart. But it's also such a big kind of revelation in that movie, what exactly that is.
Which is the weirdest part, that it's in the last trailer, but that's whatever.
Code Anime Fan says, I heard that Jack Palance's character was originally supposed to be Rupert Thorne. I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've never heard that. I know...
that doesn't sound beyond the realm of
complaints about it.
possibility, though, given how familiar Ham clearly was with the comics of the day.
Well, it would be weird, too, because... and obviously the show does this, but Rupert Thorne's not a gangster in the comics.
I've never actually read Thorne in old comics, so I don't even know what... is that
you've read the...
or maybe I haven't, I just don't remember, but is that an Englehart thing?
It's an Englehart thing. He's a governor. It's during like the Silver St. Cloud stuff, and you got like the Hugo Strange.
I'm just not remembering then, because I've read a lot of or some of that.
Yeah, that's around when they do the episode that they do with Hugo Strange in the animated series, where he like auctions off the videotape that has Batman's identity in it.
Raymond Nightmare, they hit his face until a clip like a week or two before it came out. Did you think he was going to have scars on his face, given they tried to hide his face? No, I did not.
I love the fact that Alfred, despite doing...
But again, don't want to talk about that too much because Brandon hasn't seen it yet. What was it?
that Alfred does pretty much everything in the house, but he's also right on top of Bruce Wayne every time he does something like set a glass on the edge of the table. It follows over.
It's a great comedic beat. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That they don't overdo, because it would have been really easy for Alfred to turn into comic relief, where we kept doing that even like in Batcave scenes and stuff, and it was just smart for this sequence.
But Alfred's facial expressions, though, kind of steal some shots every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
especially when he gets handed the money.
Characters we've never miscast.
No, that's
Alfred's
true.
Always great.
He's good in everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Alfred's one of those characters I struggle to rank in terms of the actors, because I like all of the Alfred.
When Dan's and I did a Batmania on that character, it was difficult for us too, and I don't remember exactly how I landed on that. Like, I honestly don't even remember who I picked as my top. Like, it might have been Michael Goff. I can't remember.
Yeah, because they're all like really good for different reasons too, I think.
And I would say that's kind of true even with voice casts and stuff. I can't think of a really crappy Alfred. I mean, obviously I prefer the second voice in animated series to the first one, but they're doing kind of the same thing.
No, absolutely. No, you can't really go wrong with that character, apparently.
Well, and we also keep reinventing him too. I mean, like he's getting younger and he's getting more kind of badass, and he carries a gun a lot more often now, and different things. But I mean, I think he's even cast well in Gotham. We do stupid things with him there, but we do stupid things with everybody in that show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So do we know what every one of these suits of stuff is? Like suits of armor, but what the heck was the last thing?
We may never know.
It never occurred to me that the kind of chessboard floor is a real Tim Burton kind of move. It's kind of surprising that there's not more of that black and white all over this movie.
Well, yeah, because is Returns his very next movie?
No. He makes Edward Scissorhands in between.
Okay, so that's like kind of the first big movie that he makes in that style, then,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, well, and I suggested when I recently reviewed Batman Returns again that is kind of the first kind of like studio Tim Burton movie. Like a lot of things, you're right, like start with Edward Scissorhands, but you get to Batman Returns and that's where it becomes kind of the factory of like take any idea and kind of shove it into this mold, whereas Edward Scissorhands felt like it was all of that appropriately brought into a story that was being told instead of working its way backwards, like I think Batman Returns kind of did.
Yeah, then there's only a handful of things he's done since then that kind of dropped that.
And yeah, and over several decades too, because I mean, like Mars Attacks drops it, and Big Fish isn't exactly that, and et cetera, et cetera.
Big Fish was one of the ones I was thinking of. Yeah. Yeah, I guess I always forget about Mars Attacks, but that is Tim Burton.
Well, that's one of the things I love about Mars Attacks is that nobody remembers he directed that. Like, his sensibilities are perfect for it, but he also disappears because he's not just doing his typical Tim Burton thing, and he actually just took a script and shot it, like, the appropriate way, like with what it really needed to be such a great, kind of farce and parody, and...
Yeah, I should check that out again, because
he uses that surrealism in some of the most sober way that he has in things in a deeply bizarre and goofy project.
So you ever notice that there are 3 security cameras behind that one pane of glass, like right on top of each other?
Yes, and when I was a kid, I was so weirded out by that. I was like, how are they not noticing these cameras? Like, as a kid, I didn't understand the two-way glass thing. I was like, what am I supposed to be... Or the one, yes. Most glass is two-way glass.
Oh boy, it's late.
Code Anime fan, could Jack's girlfriend be considered a prototype Harley Quinn? No. I'm going to go with no.
As a kid, you don't understand like when things were created.
Right.
As a kid, I legitimately just assumed that was Harley Quinn.
Oh, interesting. I don't. There's not, and I mean, I can see why, in hindsight, you might consider that. I would love one of those as a prop to take home. By the way, the wanted posters. But I don't. There's not a part of me that thinks that Dini and those guys were thinking about this movie when they came up with Harley Quinn. Because he's got a girl that he's taken around with him, but she's not a hench person really. Like, she doesn't do anything.
So is that Bob the Goon? That's the guy that was.
He just dropped her out a window and messed her face up. Yeah. And then makes her go to places with him.
So I always love.
So I mean, there are some parallels you can make with Harley Quinn. Certainly, that he ruins this girl's life, and she is kind of beholden to him. And you could see a version of Harley Quinn that maybe has had enough of him, and instead of going off her own way, just commits suicide. Like, I guess I can see that. So yeah, there's parallels you can make. I really don't think they were looking at that character. But if you mean prototype only in the sense that it's kind of interesting that there are some parallels you can make, I guess I'll give you that. But anyway, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say I love. I like your point about that could be considered, but they probably weren't looking at it that way. I think they probably weren't, but I love it when anytime anyone ever opens a safe or is looking for the files, but it's already been cleaned out. There's just a couple file folders left over. It seems to be a typical movie trope. Just there's two file, you couldn't just pick everything.
You didn't take
out.
all of it.
Yeah, was there? Yeah. Maybe there's one file. Maybe you left.
Those are
going to
be the most important files,
right,
too.
Exactly.
You're going to be able to blackmail somebody really important.
Were you moving
that
fast that
envelope.
You could relock the safe and everything?
Did I say vanilla envelope? Manila envelope.
It's like Dark Knight when they're seizing the bank vault of the mob's money, and they walk in and there's like 3 stacks of money left or whatever. And Gordon just picks one up and throws it.
Yeah, why?
That's a really good point.
Oh, toxic gas.
So in the Batman game for Genesis, which is not a clone or lookalike of any other game, the Genesis version is a totally different game. When a level starts, Batman drops from the ceiling just like he does in the scene, and it's really cool. Just like every time a level starts, that's his entrance.
Oh, that's awesome.
That says highly toxic. Everything says toxic, toxic, toxic.
My favorite part of the...
it didn't occur to me... Sorry, it didn't occur to me that this is kind of a Batman 66 set until you said that.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
My favorite part of Batman and that Ace Chemicals bit is when he drops the smoke bomb and he clearly can't move properly in the suit. So instead of just kind of throwing it down, he just a full
So that's something new about this viewing then. You were wondering if you did something new about it.
I mean, I guess it's just suddenly this area is reminding me a little bit of Batman 66. It's not a big observation.
No, but
there's something very silent filmy about that, right? Where he's got to move in a real exaggerated way because the suit is constricting him so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, exactly. No,
and that's why I think the performance works in the suit, because he's having to do kind of a old-timey horror movie thing with the good guy protagonist of the movie.
Yeah, I've always loved, the way he has to turn by doing
I think that's legitimately one of Tim Burton's most artistic shots. The soft focus with the background, with the gun in the foreground. That looks like the kind of shot, Austin, that you spend 6 hours setting up before you finally get it.
And then it's done in 5 seconds. It's like a Thanksgiving dinner.
It just feels like they took their time with scenes like this. The shadow work with the lighting in the scene, in particular, I think is some of the best lighting in the movie.
Well, in '89, I'd say is probably the second best shot Batman film.
Even still?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think the Batman just kind of knocks it out, but
you're going to put it above all the Nolan movies?
Yeah.
For like art direction and.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Wow.
I'm not a big fan of. Cinematography is good in it, but like a lot of, if we're talking like art direction, so it's not what I want from Batman.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, man. It is like for my own personal sensibilities, the look of this is a lot more of what I want. And if only Batman was more of a detective in this, it's kind of exactly what I want.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Eventually get it to where he's able to turn his head, and we're good. Like, you'll never beat this Batmobile for me. You'll never beat the plane for the Batwing for me. Like, all the gadgetry and stuff. For me personally, and some of this is my bias with my nostalgia from when I was a kid, whatever. But like, there are things I've grown out of. Like, I don't need every Ninja Turtles thing to look like 87 Ninja Turtles, and I don't mean to say I need every Batman thing to look the same either. But I'm just saying that, like, we've improved on a lot of Turtles things and other properties, but you never get better than the suit for me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
the whole
the suit was great. I had something I was going to say, but now it's gone.
I'm sorry, I got rambling.
No, it's okay. Oh, that's what it was. It was the Batman movie I always wanted was just the original 4, but with better writing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's more or less, like, it's not the exact same, obviously, but it's also more into my sensibilities with the new movie.
Well, and you can tell that
There's
Reeves
a lot of that.
likes things about those movies. And we talked a lot about how he cribs from a lot of... I can't say everything because we didn't see any of the cartoon The Batman in it. We've talked about this. Which is ironic because they have the same title.
Well, there's even that scene where he's like, somebody says, your vengeance, and he says, no, I'm the brave and the bold. So he was even looking at that show.
He doesn't say it. That never happens. Hey, Brandon, I have a question for you.
Yes, Cap.
Can you pass the salt?
Pass the salt? Yes, no. That table is rather huge.
I really don't think you should keep talking about how you've seen this movie with me 4 times.
No, I was joking about not knowing that. No, of course, the table's
that
huge.
That was perfectly landed, Brandon. That was great.
Yeah.
I legitimately want a table like this in my house.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. I've seen a table bigger than that at the Biltmore Estate in Asheville, North Carolina.
Of course you have.
It's giant.
I'd just like to have a table in my house.
Oh, is that a Canadian thing?
They don't have tables.
They don't have tables.
Yeah.
They have rinks.
They're illegal now. You can't buy them.
Everybody's got a hockey rink where their living room should be.
And tables aren't like they are in the movies. Like, you get a table in real life, and there's always that one lopsided. Like...
AMC Comics, and then there's the rumors about what they would have done with Harley as the Joker's daughter in Batman Triumphant. I forgot that the talk was that she would have been his daughter if that's the case. The only thing I remember about what was allegedly going to happen in that movie is that Jack Nicholson was supposed to come back for a cameo dream sequence thing.
It was going to be like through the fear toxin, wasn't it?
Oh, is that what it was?
That's
okay.
What I thought. Do you know who was supposed to play?
That makes sense because it was supposed to be Scarecrow. I don't remember.
As Madonna.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe I have heard that.
Weird
that
choice.
would... Okay, it is a weird choice, but if Tim Burton was either directing it or they went back more in the mode of these first 2 movies, that's the perfect choice. I mean...
Goldblum as Scarecrow sounds great, though.
Who is it supposed to be?
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, that'd be perfect now, to be perfectly honest with you, but...
Oh, absolutely.
He can do it right now. The nice thing about Scarecrow is, do you agree with this? That character could be about any age. You could do a 25-year-old Scarecrow, you could do a 75-year-old Scarecrow, I don't think it matters.
Fascinating.
I think you could do any age. And I mean, we have been playing
Scarecrow's
around...
not a like, physical villain, I don't think. So
no, it helps that he's a psychiatrist in the first place.
Exactly.
But Hugo Strange is also a psychiatrist, and I don't want a 30-year-old Hugo Strange. He needs to be a middle-aged older guy.
16-year-old Hugo Strange.
You just want Gotham High the movie. I know what you're after.
Gotham High.
Well, there was supposed to be a cartoon years ago called Gotham High.
Really?
Like,
oh man.
That new Spider-Man cartoon, they made Doc Ock like 16 in that show.
And a girl? Or are you talking about...
No, it is a guy, but he's...
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about that Spidey show.
No,
she's younger, but I don't think she's 16.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe she's not younger. Maybe she is like 40. I don't even know. I haven't actually sat down and watched that show.
Because they do, what's it called? A Superior Spider-Man in season 2, I think.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, Brandon, we've been playing around with ages lately with villains in various kind of reinventions, reincarnations of Batman. Because you have an older Riddler in the Telltale series, and they made him Catwoman's dad, which was interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, we reinvent Batman over and over and over again.
Do you have any idea, or has there been a study done on this, or anything, why Batman became the cultural phenomenon it is? Like, it just...
I mean, we could talk about that all day, Brandon. Like,
yeah, but like, have they done any studies on it? Is there like a definitive reason, or is it a multitude of everything? Because I feel like it lends itself really well to any age that it's in.
yeah.
I can't see that Joker scene where, the mirror, without thinking of The Simpsons now. Because they do that at least twice, now that I can remember.
Twice, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, because they do one with Lisa where she gets her braces, and that's like more direct, where it's like shot like that too. And there's also one with Krusty.
But yeah, Brandon, I'm hesitating to answer that because we'll spend the whole commentary on it.
Sure, no, that's fine.
I've spent a lot of time talking about that.
That's fair.
You just haven't been with us with Batman stuff, but I do a lot of Batman.
I knew that. There's one thing I did know.
But I mean, a lot of it initially has to do with the kind of yin-yang of Superman and Batman coming out a year apart from each other and being two kind of opposite archetypes, where you have the kind of I just don't want to get down this rabbit hole too far.
No, that's fine. That's fair.
But yeah, some of it's the opposite archetype thing, and then that just winning its way into the culture and showing up in various screen incarnations real early, and then the '60s show obviously was huge. But Batman doesn't stay like massively popular constantly. Like it kind of not until this movie. Like ever since this, it's kind of stayed in the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
But after '66, it was thought of as this really campy thing for the next 25 years.
So its popularity Bruce Wayne, then.
Sure.
Oh no.
I thought it was a great pun. That's quite the plastic surgery. He's got powdered donut all over his face.
Well, and the question you got to ask yourself is when he...
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
When he gets in the chair, did he already kind of look like a clown? Or did the plastic surgeon, for some reason, have to make his face white and his hair green? Because when I was a kid, I always thought about it as he falls in the vat, and then somehow a vat of acid makes his face 3 different colors.
Well, when he reaches his hand out of the vat,
that's true. It's already white. So
yeah.
I guess that's already done that to his skin.
Yeah.
So. What did the plastic surgeon do?
Yeah.
And the assumption I always made was that he, for some reason, had to make Napier's face into a permanent smile, And I don't know why, but like, did the drop in the acid do that, or was that the plastic surgery? Like,
it's from when he shoots a Batman and he gets like shot across the face.
Oh,
like,
that's right.
Yeah.
It rips his face open.
It like rips his face.
That's why he
open.
fell in the first place. Because the bullet ricochets off Batman's arm and it grazes across his face.
Okay, I'll tell you this. That's a thing I've never thought about
before it breaks the glass. Yeah,
I've never had that thought before.
Why? Because it like messes up his face, and that's the only way you can repair it, I guess.
Which means that arc, Austin in Batman Confidential, that does that with the Batarang is not as clever and creative as I thought it was. Because I thought that was the first time I'd ever seen that, where like Batman creates Joker's smile with a Batarang across the face. It never occurred to me that this actually kind of does that. Not with a Batarang, but
it's been a long time since I've read that.
That's always been one of my favorite Jack moments in the movie, because it's so weird and I don't know what he's doing.
I feel like it's so Jack Nicholson, though.
I want to see the 50 other takes, because there's no way Oop Oop is scripted, first of all. And there's no way that comes from Burton and not from Nicholson. What are the 49 other weird things he did? Sitting like, he's like, Oop Oop. There must have been another place where he was just like, ah! Like, just imagine all the other weird things he was doing. He just starts humming. He's like, that's a reel I want to see. Burton, in his commentaries with these movies, talks about how he doesn't tend to do a lot of takes. And I imagine that those would be the sorts of moments where there's an exception made there.
It's the opposite of the Radioactive Man movie from The Simpsons. You just gotta shoot everything over and over and over and over again, and from different angles.
Slipmaker. That nobody, or at least Austin won't get this. Brandon will get this. That pale moonlight line is actually a reference to a classic DS9 episode.
Oh yeah.
And then he said "City on the Edge of Forever" for no reason.
Okay.
Everything about that is hilarious.
That's funny.
In the Pale Moonlight is one of the greatest episodes of DS9. That is top 5 material.
That is correct.
AMC, Cap, that dial shoots through his cheeks and leaves a hole on each side, so I guess the surgeon had to pull the skin up on both sides. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe that is what happened.
Yeah,
okay.
It's supposed to be.
After 33 years or whatever, I finally understand what happened with the surgery. I still don't get how acid made his skin white, but that's not really the movie. I mean...
Right. I mean, he was also wearing purple pants when he fell into the acid, and then he dons the whole purple suit.
That's what's weird about Jack Napier to the Joker, is that his style is still exactly the same. It's not like he starts dressing like a clown. He's just wearing the same clothes he was wearing already. Yeah. Maybe like a little bit more flamboyant looking, a little more theatrical, but like I don't think he had an orange undershirt, but he was already wearing a lot of purple.
Also, how bad would that smell right now? That'd be pretty.
That's true. Nobody
bad.
Seems to mind.
Yeah, it's fried.
They're all fine.
I love that the one gangster specifically goes, "This is okay."
My favorite line reading in this whole scene is, "You're crazy."
No, I'm not.
This bald dude in the background, just quite a mustache.
Then Jack just drops a stick, leaves the room, and says, "We're gonna have tryouts."
So, do you think he was supposed to remove the makeup in that scene, or he just wiped and it came off anyway?
No. What he's doing is he is putting white makeup on over his real face, and it's supposed to be pretending like he's wiping off makeup, but it's actually Jack. It's actually Jack the actor holding white paint, putting it on himself.
Oh, really?
To create the illusion of taking paint off
so that's
himself.
His actual face with a little bit of prosthetic on it. Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's not like he's all white underneath that. Can you imagine
No,
the elaborate makeup job that would
I
take?
was imagining the elaborate.
No, he's just
job
wiping it
that
on
would-
himself.
That's hilarious.
My mom told me when I was a kid that they like did his makeup in layers so that they could just like wipe off a layer of makeup into the next layer.
No.
Your childhood is a lie.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's just really nice minimal filmmaking. And I love seeing stuff like that in the most expensive movies of all time. Because at the time, I don't know if you guys know this was the most expensive movie ever made. And
oh, the white on his forehead changed. It's in a different smear pattern.
that happens in movies.
Yes.
Gosh dang it. Then one of the gangsters goes, you think you can just electrocute one of our guys and get away with it? Yeah.
Yeah. Now I just wanted Jack Palance on a TV in that scene. It's like a pre-recorded tape, but they all think they're talking to him.
You see, the little TV's plan is to make me the new leader of the gang.
Brandon, another big piece of Batman becoming as like globally popular, I've always thought it has a lot to do with just the emblem, just the look of that of that symbol.
It is very catchy
because it's unlike anything else and instantly recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
It also happens to be the only thing I can draw.
Well, it's one of those symbols where you just look at it and you know that like anybody who has that can find you and make you squeal.
Did you think you were gonna come into this and doing nothing but ledger lines? Like,
I know I did not.
ledger lines. I immediately thought of a ledger book.
Yep. Jokes are always funnier when you explain them.
Oh, I wasn't sure what you were going for.
No, I wasn't. But as soon as you laughed, we all knew why.
That's why Joker had to burn up all that money to balance his books.
So there are a fair number of statues in this throughout this movie that you see in the Gotham-esque, area. Is there any that you would like to have in a collection?
I don't know. I mean, the statues are cool.
Do you want the giant eye from Batman Forever that they fly into?
Oh, well, yeah, of course. No, that's the answer. Yeah, the big glass eye.
Yeah, one of the kids will throw a toy helicopter through.
What I really want is Michael Keaton's eyebrows, and ever since I was a kid, I always wish I had that. Just the most pronounced eyebrows of all time.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody say, I wish I had that person's eyebrows before.
I don't mean like mounted on a wall. I mean like I wish I had those eyebrows.
No,
even weirder.
No, I got what you meant.
It's this movie. I don't think we can get too weird, really.
I'm going to come over next week and he's going to have those mounted on the wall. Thanks, Austin.
I've never had this thought before, Austin. Why have we never seen, because I really don't think we have, a Vicky Vale action figure or doll or something? I don't know if there's ever been one.
Because George Lucas wasn't in charge of merchandising.
Yeah, I know, but this movie gave us Bob the Goon! Like, if you made this movie now...
The gun.
If you made this movie now, there would absolutely be a Vicky Vale action figure. She's, like, the third main character.
Yeah, well, there'd be, like, different variants on it, too, where it would be, like, Art Museum Vicky.
Yeah. Well, the reason I thought of that is because I've always really liked the look she has in the scene we just saw with the rose, with the hat and her hair parted on the sides. She's really pretty in that scene, and if I had a Vicky Vale action figure, I would want it to be that look, I think. But also, we didn't do one for Chase Meridian either, and that movie also kind of played...
What's that?
Well, I know, but I'm just saying that movie also played its love interest as kind of like the I guess in that, the fourth most important character. Or maybe fifth next to Robin. But, like, they sold it just as hard on her as they did everybody else. If you did it now, she would have merchandising.
Have, like her weird robe variant when she tries to seduce Batman.
So,
but then I guess it really wasn't that long ago where you had companies that were afraid that you couldn't sell a female character to kids watching Star Wars, even though she was the main character of the movie with Rey. So, I guess it's only been recently that that's changed. But
even with Iron Man 3, the main villain for that was supposed to be a woman, and it was changed because they didn't think that they could sell that.
Isn't that dumb?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's dumb. Because when I was a kid, I wanted all the main characters. I didn't care, like...
Yeah. I just find when I see women in movies, I get, like, less interest.
It's not like I didn't want a Catwoman because she was a girl. I don't know. You'll never be able to explain to me why Joker has this totally different outfit for this one scene. Like, if he was constantly changing into a lot of different outfits... Well, I guess he does have a different outfit in the Flugelheim, too. He's got his kind of artist outfit.
Yeah.
Is it just to look like a mime, even though he talks? Because he's got, like, mime goons in that scene?
So what I was wondering was that we first, before he reveals himself, we see no less than 3 mimes, 2 of which reveal themselves directly in front of Bruce Wayne. Does Gotham just have a mime problem that this does not faze him? Like... all of a sudden there's a bunch of mimes. Like, he's got to. He's not even paying attention to this fact.
He's not even phased by that.
Yeah, it's unfazed.
I think.
I don't see.
That's a great line.
I want to say the reason is because Batman is just not supposed to be phased by anything. Like, he's prepared for anything.
That's actually
his
true.
Training and everything.
He never even ducks.
Not that we ever
bullets...
talk about his training in this. Hey, and that's weird. He's got bullets grazing off his shoulder, and he just walks by.
He's just looking at Jack Napier.
What does he have underneath that? I've talked about this before, but the real question is it because? That's a great question. Is it because nothing faces Batman, or is it because the city is so freaking weird? Nothing phases much of anybody. Like,
no, because that phased everybody else. It started to, but everybody
they didn't seem to be that
weird
bothered by the mimes until they started having guns.
But you live in Gotham. Everybody knows that the weirdos come out. You know, like there's
in broad
always
daylight
weirdos coming out. But the only thing that does seem to faze Batman is, the occasional pretty woman and the death of his parents. Like, maybe it's the underlying death of his parents that he's always brooding about, that just nothing else phases him, ever.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's supposed to be the idea. I don't know if you have this, Austin, and I guess this will come out as a massive criticism of this movie, and maybe Returns too, but with Keaton's Batman, I always get a generalized sense of brooding and standoffishness, but even more like antisocial behavior before I get like depressed or weary over the death of his parents. There's always been a disconnect with me with those two things, where that feels almost like an excuse to have him act like this before it feels like the actual reason.
Yeah, possibly. I like that. Because, like, if Batman were to exist, he probably would be a weird person as Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
So I do really like that aspect.
I don't dislike that idea.
Yeah, no, I really like that, specifically with Pattinson, but I do like it well enough with Keaton. I just don't think it's fleshed out well enough.
With Pattinson, I didn't feel the need for whatever reason, and yeah, we get like images of his parents, especially his father, in like old news reports and things like that, and pictures and stuff, and we don't get any of that with Keaton's parents. Like, we don't have any idea what they look like. We never get an image of them. But
do we not see them in the scene where we flash back and we see young Jack?
I guess we do, but we don't really linger on their faces much. Like,
yeah, but I was like, is it shot in a way? Because I just remember the close-ups of Bruce Wayne's face.
That's a good point. I guess
shot in a way where you don't see them.
the fact that I momentarily didn't remember that tells you how little it matters in that scene. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I guess you're right, but I don't feel any kind of connection between Bruce Wayne and his parents the way the character's written. And when you get, the point I was going to make is when you get to the Batman, I don't think we would have needed to see a frame of what his parents look like, and their presence is still felt.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not about that, it's about the way the character is written, and that all roads seem to come from how devastated he is about that. And we don't talk about the death of his parents nearly as much as we do in other things, because we have that kind of, it's the origin everybody knows, and so let's not linger on it too much, but it always feels real present.
Well, it's an extremely important part of the movie and the character, and like they get that even though we don't actually have to see it again. It's the main thing that like I watched it and went, God, like this is what MCU Spider-Man's Uncle Ben should have been.
Yeah.
Question.
Instead, we just don't have that. What's up?
So I know that Batman appeared in.
You're not supposed to talk about that.
Batman was in Action Comics, right?
Yep.
So Action News is because of Action Comics. There wasn't an Action News in the comics already, was there?
I've discussed this before, but that could nobody knows. That could very easily be a total coincidence, or it could be a nod. But it's a little bit weird to have like one Superman nod in a thing that doesn't deal with any other DC anything else besides Batman stuff. So yeah. So no, it is interesting that you have the word action blatantly in the middle of a Batman thing like that, but
especially because in the original Superman movie, there's the detective news station.
He's joking. Super Billy, $5 super chat. You ought to be rewatching Clifford the Big Red Dog. You can't beat Elizabeth's profound "don't hate and fear things that are different" speech.
Yeah, they did a public watch party on Clifford tonight.
Oh, did they really?
Yep.
Well, now I'm really glad we didn't do that. It would have been really bizarre if we were all watching that at the same time, or like staggered. Like we start half an hour after they start, and then yeah.
So apparently, there's been a few times in television,
that is legitimately creepy, by the way. Sorry.
In television history, where broadcasts have been hijacked by people that they never found out who they were. They would hijack the broadcast and broadcast something else, and there's a really famous example of that. I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but there's a famous example that nobody ever figured out who had done it, who hijacked the broadcast.
Meanwhile, somehow Joker is able to do it like all the time. That's actually a big Joker thing.
Yeah.
I love when he hijacks like half the TVs and then he does the like swipe.
It's my favorite nonsensical thing in the movie. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he's making that happen.
Yeah. It's so weird.
And there's no logic to it if you're looking at a single TV.
Exactly. Like the people are just watching him are like, why did he just do this? Is there a fly in the room?
Yeah, and are they just hearing the voices, the voice of like the mayor and Gordon and stuff, but not seeing them because they're not on the monitor? We'll get there. I always like that this movie is not scared of like old school serial and early movie stuff, like the spinning newspaper and stuff. Like that should seem really cheesy, but it fits this as a piece because it's so like, in a weird way, this is real old Hollywood, but it's also real contemporary and weird. Like, in some ways, maybe it's the most traditional movie Tim Burton made.
Over Pee-wee?
What's that?
Is it over like Pee-wee's Big Adventure or something like that?
Yeah, which I've not seen in a long time.
Yeah, and I've never seen it, so that's why. I wondered that because I always thought that looked like it was the most out of his style.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean to say... I'm not talking about style as much as just, like...
Just, like, looking like a big classic Hollywood film.
Yeah, this feels like an old Hollywood movie in some ways.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that always resonated with me about it. Is that, like, retroactively... Because obviously I came to love this character partly because of this movie, but retroactively, when I would go back and look at it... while I was growing up, it would be like one of my favorite characters, but done like old movies that I would look at from like the 40s and 50s. And that gives it, of course, a lot of that out of time feel.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Where we're somehow in the 30s and the 80s at the same time. And that's part of the reason that I was always taken out so hard by Returns and couldn't appreciate that as much, because it felt way too 1992.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much of the, like, timeless stuff, especially because you've dropped the gangsters. They're like 40s gangsters.
Yeah, but you replace that with... like big corporate business stuff, like satire about that, and there were also plenty of movies from that period that dealt with that. Like, you get rid of the gangster thing and you just make it more, I don't know, Citizen Kane or something. Like,
she doesn't know how to tap her fingers really well. That was weird. It was really disjointed tapping.
That's a good point. It's like Tim Burton was like, tap your fingers. She's like, I don't do that.
Yeah, she just... It looks
not how
really
I fidget.
Weird.
Can I fidget the way I fidget? All right. Part of the problem with that with Returns also, besides just one-liners that don't fit this material if you were trying to make them fit more tonally, I've talked about all of this very recently, so I won't stay on this too long. But Austin, part of it, I think, also is just... the few real-world references they make in that movie make it feel too right then. There's not a lot of it, and it's not like pop culture references and stuff. I don't think this movie one time even goes to politicians you've heard of or anything like that. We do that in that movie. Like, when Penguin's running for mayor, there's this laundry list of, like, real-world politicians that I think Shrek or somebody lists out, and...
Oh, weird. I don't remember that.
They don't do that kind of thing in this movie.
Yeah, the biggest thing I think that's very of the era with this movie is just it's just Prince.
And maybe it's just because I grew up with this movie, but somehow that's an anachronism that always worked for me.
That's fair, yeah.
Like, somehow that helps to create the timeless feel, because it's like we have this one aspect that's very much of the time that's thrown in the mix of all of these other eras. I think it's because of the consistency of it's all one sound. Because Returns also uses some contemporary music, but it's not one artist.
Yeah, I know, like, like the museum scene.
Oh, I know that's not what you were talking about, but that would be the statue. That bust
painted like Joker.
Painted like Joker. I've always wanted that.
Okay.
I always thought this was just like really goofy 80s. It's like, oh yeah, here we are.
So he has no imagination. He was painting it red, and then he tossed red paint all over it.
Well, that's because it's just vandalism.
So you may know this, but this painting coming up here is the same one that they put in the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. It's in his in his mom's room.
That is true.
Above the TV.
That's pretty cool they did that.
Yeah. And that guy's name is apparently Lawrence, because he says Lawrence right before he turns on the boombox.
That's Lawrence?
Yeah.
Which, that's a giant boombox. I'd love to have one of those. So typically 80s.
Okay, so I think maybe I told this...
What makes it so 80s, yes. You got the one goon with the giant boombox.
That is true. So when I was a kid, I was really confused by, maybe I've just mentioned this before, the fire shooting across the candles, and I always felt like I was supposed to get something extra from that scene. I was like, is he doing something with the fire? And I always thought, Brandon, that somehow it affected Vicky Vale's hair.
Oh, that's
like
funny.
He shoots across and somehow like her hair flips to the side or something, and like it doesn't. I don't know why I thought that.
The thing that got me was I'm looking at it and the fire is doing an upward arc, but the candles go in a downward arc, and I was like, how did he light all three of them? But also, I originally thought when I first saw this movie, I thought that he was shooting the fire out of his finger when he's just holding a weird lighter that shoots it.
Yeah, when you're a kid, he has superpowers in that scene for some reason.
It was weird.
So I might have told this story on After Dark. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I haven't talked about it here. So I'll mention it because I think it's really funny. So I mentioned that Batman game for Sega Genesis earlier, and there's a really hilarious thing in the instruction booklet for that game where it lists out the levels and the bosses. And one of the bosses in that game, have I told you about this? One of the bosses in that game is actually Lawrence. It's really weird.
Oh.
They took that character and you have to fight him, but the instruction booklet calls him Bob the Goon.
Oh, maybe you have told me
that's
about
not
that.
Bob the Goon. That's Lawrence.
Yeah, I think you told us about this after we finished After Dark the other night.
Okay.
Because I asked you to rank your favorite goons.
That's what it was. One cool subtle thing that's really easy to miss, and I think I had to see a behind-the-scenes featurette that brought this up before I ever caught it. Like, I never caught it on my own. But the makeup job on her is really cool. Anyway, on all of Joker's goons, they've got those leather jackets, and they have playing cards on the sleeves. Do you know about this, Austin? And the number of playing cards represents their rank as a Joker goon.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know that.
So Bob the Goon has the most because he's
I was going to ask
number
you,
one.
I was going to ask you what's on his arm.
And then if you look at the other goons, they have different numbers of them. So he's up to like a Jack or a Queen or something. I'm not sure. And maybe a King. I haven't looked that closely at that. But he has more than the others because he's the top-ranking goon. And I would really love to get my hands on one of those jackets. Or a replica. AMC, speaking of Lawrence, did anyone else ever think he looks like he's wearing a priest collar? No, I've not had that thought. Austin, that is a pop figure now, and I would like to get that.
So the Pop Goes the Weasel Joker?
Yes.
Let's just
the Joker, specifically with his face messed up by the water. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's take a moment to notice that how he busts through the glass ceiling.
Yes.
Those are shards of giant panes of glass raining death upon them.
Yes.
And no one gets a freaking cut.
And that is fine because we have kind of a heightened cartoon logic in this movie.
That's true. But Batman can walk through a rain of bullets, deflect bullets with his arm, and Joker can get shot across the face and have to have surgery. Joker got taken out by smaller pieces of glass. Iconic. How is it this late in the movie when we see this vehicle?
That's just how it goes. You gotta wait till you're like an hour in before you can see the Batmobile.
Yeah, but I think it's cool that they staggered that stuff. I mean, if you think about it, I've never had this thought, Brandon, but you actually have, and maybe I'm talking out of the other side of my face when I say this, because I don't know if this is
Two-Face?
I don't know if this is intentional, but yes, I don't know if this is intentional, but you actually have a big Batman reveal in each of the three acts. So, like, Batman himself is a big visual revelation.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what he looks like in all his glory. Isn't he scary? He's in shadow. And then we reveal him. It's kind of that Ninja Turtles thing. And then second act, we get a big reveal for the Batmobile in your big obligatory in the middle of the movie chase sequence. And then we do the same thing with Batwing in the third act.
Yes.
We do one in every act.
It's true.
It's almost like the story is set around those reveals as big set pieces.
So I used to have this Batmobile as a little RC car back in the day. Actually, it was kind of a big RC car, as I recall. But I used to have it. It never worked properly, but I had one.
Have you played with the one I've got?
Uh-uh.
I've got one right now that works great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Hot Wheels put out one.
Oh, nice.
And it's not Hot Wheels size. I mean, it's like this. It's a good size. And I've got it.
Yeah, I know. I figured it wasn't.
I'll pull that out and show it to you. But it's remote controlled and
cool.
And it's fast. It's a lot of fun down here in the bunker. My kids play with that all the time. Austin, you ever notice Keaton's face when he's like groping around his belt trying to find his grappling hook? He's got this.
I haven't.
This is another thing that if I had noticed before, Brandon, I'd forgotten, where he just goes like this.
I did
like going across his belt trying to find his grappling hook. It's great.
So there's no way, obviously, movie physics. There's no way in heck that she just grabs that thing with the one hand and then is able to pull herself up. But it makes
she
for
can
good
do that because
movie.
she only weighs 108.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so riddle me this: is Batman? Because we were talking earlier about how he fakes his death all the time. Is Batman actually unconscious for a second? Does he get knocked out, or is he pretending this whole time? And why?
No, he just gets knocked out.
I think he gets knocked out.
Oh, Batman was knocked down on the ground there for sure.
Yeah.
But the Flash,
He's like
a la
an idiot.
Data.
He lets go and then he just falls to his death. And then he's knocked out.
I like that Vicky gets to kind of help him in this scene. We could have her do more of that in a place or two, maybe, but she distracts some goons for a minute.
Another question for you.
Yeah.
Do you get the sense at the beginning of the movie and towards the middle of the movie that everybody in Gotham knows who Bruce Wayne is in some, way? Because I get that feeling, with the exception, Jack Napier doesn't know who he is. And...
it's not like a lot of other Batman things where we're constantly talking about, how famous he is, and the Begins thing where, you'd have to go 500 miles before you met somebody who didn't know your name and all of that. I guess I don't actually know.
But everybody shows up to his house for that soiree.
Yeah, but that's, the, high society creme de la creme people.
Yeah.
I could see...
Gordon.
I could see Nicholson. I could see Napier maybe not, caring about the billionaire. I don't know, but he is paying attention to the news.
Right.
So, no, that's a good point.
I just feel like he should have known
He probably
who
should
he
know
was.
who
He
Bruce
should,
Wayne is.
At least when Bruce Wayne is standing there not dodging the bullets and he looks right at him, oh, you're Bruce Wayne.
You know what? I'm not with you on it, actually.
No?
No, I think he recognizes him and it just doesn't matter right then, so there's no dialogue about it, because he does look up at him from the car and wave at him like that. I think that's recognition that where he knows who he is, maybe.
I
can
see
you were
that.
talking about the apartment scene.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what you were talking about for a minute, yeah. But then, because then later when he's in the apartment, he'll say, Bruce Wayne,
Well, no, at that point,
Wayne.
he knows who he is because he's already been introduced to his name. When is it Bob the Goon that says she's dating somebody named Wayne.
Oh, that's true.
Wayne, and
yeah.
he's like, well, she's about to get.
She's about to trade up.
I'm
yeah.
not sure at that point he really knows who Bruce Wayne is.
Maybe the script doesn't know.
Maybe.
That's a good point. Yeah, I never thought of that. I don't know.
Yeah, Bob the Goon doesn't.
No, Bob the Goon definitely doesn't. But that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bob the Goon is the type of person that he only looks at the newspaper to read Marmaduke.
So yeah, I don't know how it opens quite that fast, but you know.
Yeah, as a kid, I always thought it was like a hologram. That it was.
Yeah, but then they do that shot where you see it
Where
drop.
you see it drop.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Just paper mache. It's light.
I think that is probably the biggest triumph of Elfman's score is just the music leading up to the Batcave. And that's the best part of the entire score. And the movie desperately needs that in that scene because it makes one of the not as great looking moments of the movie way more epic than it should feel.
Yeah.
Because you got some really fake looking trees through there.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the more Tim Burton-y looking things in the movie, Austin.
Oh, it absolutely.
The trail up to the Batcave.
Yeah. No, he's like driving through Sleepy Hollow.
I had this playset.
I feel like the first rule of having a secret lair is like you don't bring
talk
people
about your
back to your
secret lair.
secret lair. Yeah.
Well,
Yet everybody
see,
seems to do it.
He has to because there's something else of hers that he wants, which sounds sexual but turns out not to be.
Because he already got that.
That's true. That's true. That's already happened.
Yeah. Alfred was unfazed.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point because I've always thought that the movie is trying to momentarily make you think that Batman's about to do something like really untoward.
Yeah.
In that scene where he's like, "There's something else of yours that I want," and then you're like the cape and the bats flying. You're like, "Oh my God, what is happening right now?" Because from her perspective, he's supposed to seem like sort of a Nosferatu or something, and then you get to the next scene. No, he took the film. And wait a minute, but Bruce Wayne's already had sex with this woman. Like,
yeah.
That's a really good point.
Oh my God. Well, it's the exact same thing as to Mr. Freeze and Batman and Robin, where he like glides up to him, and then it just cuts to him standing there, and he moves his cape, and Mr. Freeze is just dead on the ground.
They do a good job of making you experience Batman from her perspective in the scene. It is easy momentarily to kind of forget that he's Bruce Wayne. You just forget that Bruce Wayne's an entity in the movie.
I was trying to read the screens behind him, and I could not, unfortunately.
It's a bunch of technical jargon about chemistry.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah,
because you don't want to mix that hairspray and lipstick.
Back in and be like,
oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
I was saying it's kind of got a parallel with Begins, where he brings like the love interest back, and he's like, "Oh, you know, you got this cure thing, and you need to take back with you."
That's a really good point. Yeah.
So,
yeah, there it's a cure. Here it's. I guess they're both cures. But one's like an actual physical antidote.
Yeah.
And
this isn't exactly
the other
an
one's
antidote,
information.
But it's just like, this is what the poison is.
Sorry, just 1 second. That's the closest to being an actual detective he gets in the movie. We're gonna say.
So I figured. So you might have known this, but I just put two and two together here watching it this time. So she wakes up and she, for purposes of describing what she did, she grabs her left side and she goes, "He took the film."
Yeah.
That was the thing he wanted of hers.
Yep.
I hadn't put that together, but
that's
also,
what I was just talking about, Brandon.
Well, but I was paying attention to the film. But my other thing is that means that he had to get it from there.
Yes.
So he
Very
did
delicately.
that without her knowledge.
Very
and I
delicately.
feel like that's a slippery slope.
Because he's Batman.
That's a gray area.
Yeah, it's a little.
Also, he doesn't have.
That's a little shady.
He doesn't have X-ray vision. How does he know exactly where she put the film on her body?
Maybe he checked other places first. Oh boy.
It's impossible to talk
Her
about
purse.
that.
I'm talking about her purse.
We've dealt with this before. It's impossible to talk about that part of the movie without it starting to sound really risque and unfortunate.
Yeah, Batman gets sued for improper handling.
For improper shipping and handling.
It's not manhandling, it's bad handling.
You know, Austin, I feel like a lot of fans of CW shows have had issues with shipping and handling. Improper shipping! You shouldn't have put those two characters together! Why did we have Chloe date Doomsday in Smallville? It's improper shipping!
What is that art in the hallway behind Bruce Wayne? Did you see that?
Yeah, that's a neat piece. I don't know what it is, but...
And also, I love the aesthetic of this apartment, too. Like, it's amazing.
Also, I like the intentional crappy view she has. She's got this fantastically spaced apartment, and then you look out the window...
And the building's right there.
And it's just... Yeah, it's just like a water tower.
Gotham City for you.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Look at the tall back chairs, too.
Yeah, you couldn't afford an apartment like that on a photographer's salary.
She worked for life, though.
She's just that good. Yeah, exactly. Look, she went to the Coro Maltese, man.
Yeah, she was a foreign correspondent.
She got all these pictures of Starro.
Wait,
you know, I never
again.
What?
She wasn't wearing makeup because of the whole Joker thing. She's wearing makeup again.
Yeah, because now she knows what things not to mix. I guess. We can't do that too much with our female lead in a movie, Brandon.
I understand that, but it does draw me out just a little bit.
But it is, we talked about this before, but it is funny just how horrible they make the news anchors look.
Yes. And I noticed that again this time, too. I was just like, oh my God.
Just going out of their way. And there's actually a lot of that.
Zits.
There's a lot of that kind of makeup in this movie. Where we just try to make people look as horrible as possible, but in a really Hollywooded kind of way. Where it's like we can tell they're just wearing a lot of makeup. Like the guys on the roof at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, the sunken eyes and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look terrible. And, you know, I don't usually talk a lot about hair and makeup. We're doing a lot more of that here. But while I'm on the subject, Vicky's braid is really cool. And they just make her look great through this whole movie. A lot of really good hair work, too.
Batman 89, great hair work.
AMC, you know what's weird? She wakes up in her apartment, so he's knocked her out with something. Likely gas, but possibly a punch or a chokehold! Just saying! He's got bat gas.
He was like that, so I'm pretty sure he, decked her right in the head.
Well, I think he was just unfurling his cape so the audience couldn't see whatever he was about to do. Anyway...
Lawrence still holding the boombox here.
Yes, because he's playing Beautiful Dreamer.
Here's a silk shirt now.
Line in that moment.
That's true. It's a different outfit in every scene, but I just remember he's usually wearing the purple suit, the purple coat.
So what if what Bruce Wayne had to tell Vicky Vale wasn't that he was Batman? What if it was like...
I forgot to pay my phone bill last Tuesday.
Yeah. Or like...
I went to the doctor and I'm positive.
Oh no! I got it.
Get checked out.
No, I've got it. I've got it. The secret is I really had been in that room before. But anyway, what do you think it should have been?
No, I like the idea of now you need to get checked.
I thought you were going somewhere with that. I thought you had like a thing.
No, I did not have a thing. It occurred to me, what if it wasn't just like I'm Batman? If it had been like just something else.
Well, and the I'm Batman scene becomes a huge trope in superhero movies. And other things, too. There's a lot of movies that have the I'm Batman moment.
Yes, but usually you're saying you're Batman as Batman. Like, I'm Batman.
No.
No, not usually?
No, I mean, like, the trope of specifically to a love interest, where you're going to reveal that you and the superhero are the same person. That's a trope. That shows up in lots and lots of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then we started subverting it by actually letting the character, get it out earlier and earlier in the movie. Like, Amazing Spider-Man is kind of a big deal that we have Peter Parker just straight up show Gwen Stacy that he's Spider-Man with that kind of romantic scene with the web shooter thing that he does after the Branzino. Which is, beginning a second act. It's really early in that movie. The real question is why she has that painting. Of, like...
I wasn't even looking at that.
This is bringing back a thing from a while ago, but with the Vicky Vale action figures... they should have like a fainting, like you know the ones where you like have like a button or whatever and it has like an action. You could have like a.
You want a fainting Vicky Vale?
Yeah.
She comes with a box that has a hand with dead flowers that pops out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you squeeze like the toy's legs together and she faints.
That's amazing. I would love that. I also always like to ask how long the popcorn has been sitting on the mantle.
Yeah. So I like how Jack comes in to, play all these kind of mind games, and then Bruce Wayne comes on the scene and kind of steals Jack's attention completely for a minute. Like, first of all, who dare come at me and start talking to me like this? What's he got to say? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a place where I really don't know what's happening.
So what's...
I don't know what the point... Oh, that's not the painting I thought it was. Yeah, I don't know what that painting is.
It's a naked person.
It's so weird that this
Yep.
scene would have gone into Batman on horseback.
Yep. That was supposed to happen. I don't think it was after this scene specifically.
No, I'm pretty sure it's after this scene in the apartment.
Is it? I don't remember anymore.
So, by the way, just the way that the bullet was in that tray meant that the tray was facing outward. Like, the top of the tray was facing, which would have been highly noticeable under his shirt, rather than, the curved part being over his chest plate. Like,
I don't know what the point was of Bruce Wayne telling Joker that he knows who he is. I don't know why he does that.
Because he's a psycho.
Yeah. Because he's just as crazy as the Joker.
Yeah.
Remember Microfiche?
I do. Still used in libraries. A lot.
I just want every chance I can get to say that. Oh, no passenger. Hi, Vicky. I'm Vengeance. Thomas, you want to get nuts? There's a joke that Eric and I came up with years ago before he moved here to Kansas City, and we always wanted to get together in person to film it. And he's lived in the same area as me for 6 years, lived in my house for 4. We never shot it, and I haven't brought it up to him in a long time. I want to, with him or somebody else, I want to shoot it at some point. We had this, now it's going to be pointless because I'm going to reveal what it is.
Pets?
Yeah, we had this idea
You've talked about it on the channel before.
Have I really? We had this idea, Brandon, of, I'll mention it again, of driving up to a store that sells nuts and has nuts in the
name of
the store on an awning. And I went as far as to look this up to see if there was any place in the area, and I found one. And I was like, let's drive there. And Eric and I came up with this together. I don't know who should get more credit for this. We had this on a phone call, and the idea was we would drive up, and we'd be in a car, and we'd have a camera on us, and one of us would look over to the other and be like, "Hey, you want to get nuts? Come on,
let's get nuts.
Let's get nuts." And then we went to a bunch of other one-liners from superhero movies, and we just kept coming up with mundane situations to use lines.
So the other funny thing about this scene is that when Joker starts talking, the guys on the other screen look his direction.
Yeah,
they're not even in the same.
They're not the same room.
Nobody's over. Joker's not
How
over there.
How do they know what
it's
monitor he's
there
on?
Because he's on the monitor. It's a great sight
It
gag.
only makes sense in this context.
Right. It's a great sight gag to me. Because they're just like turn their heads.
He's also sitting in a really weird chair.
Oh, it's awesome. It's a high-backed armchair.
I think it's weird, Brandon, that when he was in Joker makeup in the previous scene, you kept calling him Jack. But now that he isn't in Joker makeup, you're calling him Joker?
Oh, okay.
I just think that's really interesting.
I was subconscious. $20 million. In the context of the people of Gotham, that's not a lot per person.
Yeah, but you know, they're desperate. They're showing people around biker gangs like around
Oh yes, of course.
barrels of fire with like homeless people and stuff. But the real question is why they think they can trust that guy.
Right. Mono e mono.
We finally had somebody come into the comments late wondering what part of No Way Home we're at. Expendable Indigo. Sorry. It's April Fool's Day. Birthday boy John Kelling. Oh, John, is it your birthday? John was upset because nobody wished him happy birthday. He said,
That's
was
really
busy
funny.
crying because no one wished me a happy birthday. Where are we at? Has Peter Parker made grave mistakes yet in the movie?
Yeah.
And then he says Vicky Vale comes with a popcorn accessory. Yeah, I want her to come with a box that has a hand that pops out. And I want the big NECA figure of that, like a Hot Toys Vicky, like a $600 Hot Toys Vicky Vale with a box with a hand that pops out of it.
So, do you get the idea? So when Batman is when Bruce Wayne is looking.
1 second,
at,
real quick. Footlight Frenzy is I don't know if that's supposed to be the movie that they actually saw, or if that's just a poster for another movie, because we're not told what movie they actually saw, but that's a real movie apparently. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh, when Bruce Wayne is watching the footage,
Yeah.
of Jack Napier, Joker, up there on the screen, and it's on all his monitors.
Then it pauses where he closes his eyes.
Yeah,
like that.
well, he paused it, yeah. But my question is, was it on all the monitors because Bruce Wayne always looks at one thing on all his monitors, or because the Joker managed to take over all of Bruce Wayne's monitors like he was taking over all the other monitors?
And if he was just looking at Jack the whole time on all his monitors, he should be as confused as the rest of us with what the hell was this about?
Yes,
why was he doing
going on
that?
with this? Was he looking at both broadcasts? They were on different monitors.
Now, the assumption that I guess you can make, because they were just showing us the multiple monitors, is that for the viewer at home, they were cutting between cameras, but you still wouldn't know what that was about.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I never got the assumption that they were cutting the cameras. That makes sense because those are two different
That's why
monitors
you'd
in
have
the
the different
studio.
monitors. Yeah, the studio's got
Right.
is looking at all the cameras at once. It's such a weird minor thing to nitpick about, but I've always been confused about it, and I can't stop talking about it. It's one of my favorite like intentional logical gaffes in the movie. Because, like you said, it's a sight gag. Like, they know it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
They have to know that. This guy's face is amazing. Like, doubling
Who
for
is
a
that?
young... I've looked it up before. I can't remember. He's just a character actor. It's not in anything I've ever seen. But they just amazingly found a guy that looks that much like a young Jack Nicholson.
Would you rather have Alfred's eyebrows? You kind of do. They're big, bushy.
Do I? Well, then I
Little
guess
bit.
not, because the grass is always greener. Hey, I have a question. Why is there so much dry ice in the Batcave?
Because where else is he going to keep his dry ice?
Oh, sure,
Not in the
yeah.
house.
Is there floor underneath it, or if you jumped on the other side of the Batmobile, would you fall into a pit and die?
No, I'm pretty sure the Batmobile is sitting on top of just a circular, like, tall thing.
It is, and everything around it
is just a pit.
is a drop.
Yeah. No, I'm almost certain it is.
So then the dry ice is even weirder, because it's not sitting on ground.
I mean, it's just fog. I mean, it's just supposed to be representative of fog, I guess.
I guess. I don't know why there's fog down there.
Well, I would imagine. So, theoretically, in reality, I would imagine that it's a lot cooler.
Are you really gonna try to
inside the
explain that?
cave? Yes.
This is amazing.
It's a lot cooler inside the cave, so you're
Uh-huh.
going to have different conditions. Like if the dew point and the temperature get in the prop. I know it has to do with dew point, temperature, and
I'm pretty sure
and,
it's for the sake of atmosphere, Brandon.
and well, atmospheric pressure was what I was about to say next.
oh.
Those three things can
I
combine
mean-
to make fog.
in the movie.
Yes, it's for the atmosphere, but that's what you might find in a cave.
We're talking
like
over
that.
this really typical Hollywood romance dialogue, Brandon.
Oh, well, 80s romance
but he's
dialogue,
out there right
no
now.
less.
I don't know how she has the time to make her hair a completely different style, like drastically every scene.
Good question.
I think it's because she's a woman in a movie.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
She has to have new outfits and hair in every scene for the little girls to like it.
But then they're not going to merchandise that. That's the point I'm making.
Oh.
Where does Bruce Wayne get the dark eyeshadow?
Man.
Does he have a little bit of it like tucked inside the cape, the pocket in the cape or something?
It makes me want a scene, Brandon, where he's lost some of it and he does the Joker thing where he just starts rubbing it on his eye.
That's what I was about to say. Is in his belt, he's got like a little cloth with it that he can just wipe it on.
So Batman doesn't use guns, but he'll put machine guns on his car.
That's a
And you'll
loophole.
murder people.
Yeah, loophole.
It's a loophole. Oh, he also has bombs, and he'll blow up entire buildings.
He supposedly just killed everybody around the Batmobile.
Hey, Austin, I have a question for you. Yeah, well, they're just guns, so it's fine. Well, I have a question for you. How come... Oh, I forgot what my question was.
It started with how come.
Yeah, I did. That's how far I got. I'll think of it.
More people.
Oh, how come it's because you mentioned earlier you called it Ace Chemicals, but it's not Ace Chemicals in this movie. It's Axis Chemicals, and I wonder why they changed that.
I don't know.
And why they went with a word that's so close.
So can we also discuss the fact that
realized they
okay, did you see the belt?
Yes.
You turn your head when it happened. So it's a blink and you miss it moment.
Oh.
But the helicopter shows up.
Yeah.
And Batman is standing dramatically there, and the bell disappears and it drops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's good. And then that NECA figure that I just bought, I'm one of the things I was really excited about with it, Brandon, is the belt moves so that you can do that. Like,
nice.
It actually moves up and down. It's really funny.
Can we discuss the moral ambiguity it is to blow up a toxic chemicals plant?
Sure, yeah. Well, there's a reason that Sam Hamm made so much of, and it's not finished yet. It got really delayed, but he made so much of the '89 Batman comic miniseries that started last year about Batman not realizing all the collateral damage that he causes.
That's good.
That's awesome.
And how he's so out of touch with reality and living in his own little world that he's getting people killed all the time.
I mean, he is a billionaire.
And he finally realizes it and has to make up for it somehow, and that's kind of funny.
Yeah, Cap, which Batman kills more people? Michael Keaton when he blows up that factory full of people, or Christian Bale when he blows up an entire monastery full of ninjas?
I'm gonna go with the monastery, probably.
Yeah.
In both movies, the logic is that was filled with bad people, so it's fine.
Well, it's funnier with Begins because he's like, I won't be an executioner.
Yeah.
And then he blows up the building.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, and it's not even the contradiction of the last, big scene in the train.
No, they're just not thinking about it.
Whereas, I don't have to save you, but I'm not going to kill you. He's already said I'm not going to be an executioner. He kills all those people.
So Joker just drove past the delicatessen
it's a
twice.
scene where they're not thinking.
Now, the argument you can make is that he's not intentionally killing any specific people, and he's got to escape somehow. And maybe he didn't expect explosions to happen.
But then you've got to come to terms with the fact that it did happen later, right?
Well, we just never talked about it,
right? Well, but so is that how Batman just puts himself to sleep at night if he just doesn't think about it ever again? He just
that's how the scriptwriter. That's how the writers do.
There's the Batwing.
Yeah. We've only ever had 2 movies where Batman doesn't murder anyone. It's crazy.
It's a bill landed on his hat.
And yeah, it's great. And another way that you know that they're not really thinking too much about the logic of all of that, Austin, or like the motivation of all of that, is when Roz shows up. When Ducard shows up to reveal himself as Roz in the third act, he goes, "You burned my house and left me for dead," but he didn't. He's the one person he saved intentionally. He didn't leave him for dead. He took him to this family with a guy that nursed him back to health. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, Rod's got his own version of like the Kent family.
There's a really terrible prequel show in there somewhere.
Oh God, I would watch that. I'd watch that over anywhere. It would be like that section of X-Men Origins where Wolverine just lives with the Kent family for like 15 minutes and they get machine gunned.
I'm gonna make the call. I don't know if I've thought of this before. That the searchlights here are intentional foreshadowing for Bat Signal.
Possibly, yeah. And then the Batwing and the moon is also intentional foreshadowing.
Oh, Unknown Passenger mentions turtleneck Bruce Wayne. I've always loved that look. That's another thing that does date it pretty hard. But I never think about that because I grew up in that period and I had turtlenecks and everybody I knew had turtlenecks and I have to kind of remind myself, oh yeah, people don't wear those anymore.
I do.
I mean, that's cool. I'm not going to judge you. I'd like to have them again, honestly.
Yeah,
that guy's creepy.
I've got a couple mock turtlenecks too.
I've never really understood the difference.
Well, turtleneck, actually, the collar folds over.
Oh!
A mock turtleneck just looks like it. It doesn't fold over.
I'm actually not sure which he's wearing in this. So, lots of good model work. I've talked about that ad nauseam.
Yeah. It has such a gritty reality to it.
I think the Batwing is one of the simplest but most genius designs of any vehicle in anything. It's the only time I can remember ever seeing. Maybe there's something else that you know what? I can think of another example, but it's usually done in a more absurd way, where you take a logo for a thing, a real recognizable logo, and you turn it into a vehicle that actually looks aerodynamic. Like, it really looks like you could just take that symbol and make it a thing that flies. It's got to have the extra wings on the back and stuff, but like they've really thought about how that thing would actually be airborne.
So there was a website that I used to go to in the late 90s, early 2000s called futurehorizons.com, and they had a lot of kind of fringe sciencey stuff on it, but they had a couple of remote control airplane type things you could buy, one of which was called a Geobat that looked a lot like that. It was a circular thing and it actually flew. It had a propeller in it and you could actually fly it. And I always wanted to get one. I never got one, but they were really cool.
Oh, that reminds me, I have a drone of the Batwing for this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I couldn't get it to fly, though. Hilariously, I just said it looks really aerodynamic. I can't get the thing to lift off the ground.
I think the simplest plane, though, design in anything is probably Wonder Woman's.
Because you can't see it?
Jokes are always funnier when you explain them.
Have you ever seen the drone they made for Spider-Man Homecoming?
Huh.
It's just like the Vulture, it's got his wings and it's just like a little guy.
We're not supposed to talk about that franchise tonight.
That's so weird. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was referencing Morbius.
But no, did you? I can't remember, Austin. Did you watch any of the Amazon Tick Show?
Yeah, I've seen all of that.
It has that great moment where the Terror has his T ship that just comes off a logo.
Oh yeah.
That just comes off the side of a building and flies off. It's awesome.
No, it's
so
great.
Bruce Wayne just comes down.
Hang on, he's gonna kill Bob. We have to have a moment of silence.
Oh, a tear shed for Bob's loss.
Okay, so look at these guys' shoulders if you can see any of them. We've got the different playing cards. Anyway, I'm sorry.
So Bruce Wayne just saved the day, right? He came down with his Batwing and he snagged all the lines on the balloons, and then he cut them and he let them float away.
That's the cover of the CD. It is.
Am I correct about that? he cut
I'm
the
sorry,
lines
I was
and let
distracted by the fact that he's in a bat suit and you're calling him Bruce Wayne, so I'm wondering if the next time we see him as Bruce Wayne, you'll call him Batman.
So
anyway, I'm sorry, what were you
Batman
saying?
comes in to save the day.
Yeah, right, yeah, that happens.
Grabs all the lines of the balloon.
Yes.
And then he severs
Because he
them,
stole my balloons!
allowing them to float away. They're still full of poison gas, and they're going to land in the next town over. Again, more casualties, more collateral damage that Batman isn't thinking about.
He thinks he's in
only
a Saturday morning
caring
cartoon.
about Gotham because
That's Superman's problem now.
once again, he's narrow-minded, short-sightedness.
So more recently, I've had people try to. I'm gonna bring this up once again. I've had people try to explain this bizarre moment to me, and I think it's preposterous. I still don't buy it. So Batman gets Joker in his sights, and he shoots missiles and machine gun ammo and everything. Can't hit him, even though he's got the sights on him. And what I've had people try to tell me since I made that criticism for years, Brandon, is, well, he gets him in the circles so that he can shoot all around him and intimidate him.
Yeah, but it's about as intimidating as when Bruce Wayne walks through all the bullets when the Joker's leaving City Hall. It's like the same thing.
Like, first of all, it doesn't do anything. So, like, he fails at whatever it is he's trying to do. I don't understand that.
So is that supposed to be like a parallel type scene where Joker doesn't get hit by barrage bullets and Bruce Wayne didn't get hit by a barrage of bullets?
No, I think it's just characters with plot armor. I don't think there's anything artistic about it. Intentionally. But yeah, I still think it's just a nonsensical scene where it's just about, like, cool visuals in the moment. We're not supposed to think about anything that's actually happening.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know why he does that. And then somebody in the comments a minute ago suggested that maybe his killing all of the goons in the chemical plant is now that he realizes that this is Jack Napier and he killed Bruce Wayne's parents, that, like, the gloves are off and now, like, everything's, you know,
it's a revenge
up for
plot.
grabs, and he can kill Joker's goons because that's just an extension of him. But then, and that's an interesting theory, but then why doesn't he just kill him when he's got him in his sights? Like, I don't understand why he shoots all the bullets around him. I know I've talked about this a lot before, but I wanted to bring it up again because I don't understand that explanation.
Look how disheveled he looks when he gets out of that thing. And how come they didn't walk over to find him? He was right there underneath that piece of metal.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is he just assuming Batman must be dead?
I don't know. It's just they just see the
guess.
crashed thing. Also, you could not pay me enough money to walk upstairs like this inside a huge bell tower like this. You couldn't. I'd be freaking the.
Well, and I think you'd be.
Are you afraid of heights?
And I know you're afraid of heights,
yeah.
but I think you'd also be even more freaked out by just how dilapidated this place is.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because
this is a haunted house right here.
In certain conditions, for me, my fear of heights takes on a number of forms. One of which I cannot help but imagine everything collapsing and where I would go when that would happen. The sides of mountains are fine. But
Tom puts in a $5 super chat and says the Batcave is probably.
I have that too.
The Batcave is probably next door to the Smallville graveyard. Oh, because it has a lot of dry ice too. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
Must have been near where Spanier was filmed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had a fog machine.
Oh, I've always wanted a fog machine.
See, that's
awesome.
just too high for me.
It's a lot of fun. Took a while to get used to breathing that constantly, but...
Well, I'm just used to breathing in smoke, so...
Oh, okay.
These bells are absolutely gigantic, and I love it. I love the aesthetic.
Yeah, and then they're going to drop down and break everything. Or one of them is. I think it's really sad that we introduce this great plan, and then 5 minutes later we crash it. I also don't think it should be that easy to shoot it down with one gun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What did you say, Osmond?
As said, and then it can't show up in the sequel.
No, we have to replace it with the Bat boat because we're in a sewer, and that's pretty cool looking too.
Well, the best vehicle thing in 2 is when the Batmobile like splits off.
Yeah.
I love that bit when he's driving at the alley.
He goes, now I'm a
Michael
little worried.
Keaton's acting where he's just like, that's not good.
He goes, now I'm a little worried.
Oh, that's what it is, yeah.
But I think it's funny that then he has an exact fix for that situation anyway. So I'm worried that he presses a button and he fits perfectly in between the alley, in between the two buildings.
Yeah, that's another thing that that has in common with a Nolan film is the Batmobile kind of splits off into a smaller vehicle.
Oh, that's true. Suddenly he's in a toy commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
And the toy did that too. There was a Batmobile that broke off like that, and I think there was an animated series Batmobile that also did that, or had like two parts. You know what? I think maybe what I'm thinking of is folks that remember this. Tell me if I'm right about it. I think there was a animated series car, the action figure vehicle that the sides came off and then it turned into a plane. Like there were wings that popped out of it, maybe.
Oh, for which movie?
No, for animated series.
Okay, well, because that's what I thought you said at first, but I had that for Dark Knight, where this is Lamborghini and like wings popped out of it.
Oh, really? I never saw that.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. I had very few Dark Knight toys as a kid, but
I always thought it was weird when, and I was married at that point. I always think it's weird when Superman gets an action figure car that has wings.
Well, I think the weirdest toy like that I've ever seen was I went to like a Walmart once, and they had the Flashmobile as a toy there.
Oh.
I was like, who wants the Flash's car? He can run faster than his car.
That's like Sonic and a kart racer. It's weird.
Exactly.
I mean, some of those are good, don't get me wrong, but it's like, who wants Sonic driving in a car? Oh, also, the real answer to your earlier question is probably this Bat Gargoyle.
Oh. Well,
when Joker goes,
so...
When Joker goes, what are you looking at? Yeah.
I'll keep asking you for everything, but him dancing with Joker dancing with Vicky Vale reminds me of the scene where Buford Tana dances with Clara Clayton at the end of
yeah, it's hard to dance with a gun in my hand.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll learn.
It's just that forced and jilted.
You'll learn. Yeah, and it's weird because those movies are only made like a year apart.
Well, no. 89 and I think 91.
Yeah.
A couple years, yeah. Okay, yeah.
But 2 and 3 are made back to back.
That's true.
So I'm still right. I think.
No, you're right. You're right.
AMC Batman Brave and the Bold has a Batmobile that turns into a Batwing and mech. Okay.
Of course. Wait, and a mech.
And a mech.
That's nuts. He's got to freaking transform. Whoa.
AMC Cap, have you ever taken that line? We were talking about that Ra's al Ghul thing from Begins. That line to mean that Bruce burned Raz's house and left who he thought was Ra's, the decoy, to die. That's been my rationale. Nah, I never really had that thought. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
My read on Ra's al Ghul has always been like there is no Ra's al Ghul as a person in that movie. And I think that's one of the things that Rises does, where I'm like,
but he makes it personal. He says, like, we're even because you left me to die. Ooh.
For whom the bell
I think that's
tolls.
Too much of a stretch. I don't see that read.
It told for him.
He just killed Ray Charles.
Oh my God! He just killed a blind man, and then later on he's gonna punch a man with glasses.
Somebody earlier was like, would you punch a man with glasses? I just feel like that's a depends question.
Uh, yeah. I think I would always punch a man with glasses.
Case by case, Brandon.
There was a guy in my high school that got punched who had glasses. He got punched in the face. Turns out it's not as funny in real life.
So, Brandon, did you ask me why Batman's so popular because you don't understand the popularity? Where you're like, I
No,
don't get why
not
people
at
are obsessed
all.
with that. Like,
I just wonder
it's
why.
not my thing. Is that
no,
what you're
I
saying?
really enjoy Batman. I just wonder why he became the cultural phenomenon that he like. He's like, yeah, other superheroes are popular, you know, but like Superman and Batman, everybody knows who they are.
Yeah, well, and Batman has stayed popular longer. Like,
Yeah.
people can't get their head around Superman now because it doesn't feel like a thing that can exist in the real world, and it's easier to.
Imagine a billionaire philanthropist.
Yeah, like it's
We have those.
It's all well, but it's also preposterous in certain ways, but not as preposterous because at least the guy doesn't have superpowers. But also, he's not like, you know, perfect and altruistic like people see Superman.
So what just
No,
happened
Batman's
there?
a jerk.
But I think a lot of the appeal I mean, for me, it's different things. Because for me, it's all about a guy that's like super driven and tries to make himself like way more than the sum of his parts, and just pushes himself with everything.
He says, "Don't think I didn't try to get over it," and Batman goes, "I know you did."
Yeah, none of that dialogue makes any sense.
Yeah.
think I didn't try.
But Brandon, what I was going to say real quick is, but I think a lot of it for people is the anti-hero thing before anti-heroes are huge and popular.
Yeah.
Where like it's this kind of best of both worlds thing where you get a character that can be all dark and brooding but also like sometimes kind of terrifying. And it's fun that like we can make a big deal out of this guy being heroic and saving the day, and he always wins at the end because he's the good guy, but he also gets to intimidate people, and that's fun.
Yeah, that is true.
Austin, Joker, your line is, hey, where did Batman go? Oh, no, I'm sorry, Batman's line should be, where did the Joker go? Joker puts on glasses, where did he go? AMC, Vicky Vale dropping out of C might have the most disturbing implications of anything in this movie. I've had that thought, except, this is going to sound awful, but, like, she's not there long enough to actually do anything, because then Batman sneaks up behind her, and it has the pale moonlight line, which is a nice payoff.
It's mostly weird because she goes down and then he makes that face.
He makes that face.
Yeah,
So-
and then Batman's just standing in front of him, which makes it awkward.
So are you having issues with your disc or something, or are you playing video games? Like,
Oh, my movie ended, so now I'm playing games.
wait, really?
Yeah.
Were you watching it on a faster speed than us?
No, I just wasn't watching Batman.
Wait, have you not been watching this movie the whole time?
Yeah, no. I decided to up your ante on
Okay.
April Fool's Day.
What'd you do?
I watched Big Trouble in Little China.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Goodness.
You haven't been
April
watching
Fools.
this movie with us this
Wow.
whole time?
Nope.
All right, well, you're fired.
Wow.
I'm done with this guy.
That's
It's kind of impressive that you were able to stick with us the way you did, watching some other movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Although I don't even know if I believe you, because like this could be April Fool's Inception right now, where it's like,
No, I'm playing Arkham Knight right now. I'm playing Batman.
Jeez
okay, at
Louise.
least now it's related. I don't know.
So shouldn't Vicky Vale be like
I
traumatized
don't
for
like getting
life
trolled
now?
in my own video. I don't know if Austin's coming back, you guys. Anyway, I'm sorry. What, Brandon?
Vicky Vale should be like absolutely traumatized.
This is going to be our
needs-
last April Fool's video. I
needs
think
psychotherapy.
this has been a tradition
I
for
came up with
years.
the idea
I think Austin
yesterday.
has broke me on it. I think I'm done, man. Like, I'm irritated now. Sorry, what?
Oh, I came up with this joke yesterday. I was like, that'd be funny. It's an inception of April Fools.
Anyway, sorry, Brandon. What were you saying?
No, Vicky Vale should be completely traumatized by this experience and have total PTSD, I think. Like,
Yeah, sure.
I mean, she's seen war-torn. Where did she go? What was it?
Courtauld Maltese, which is not a real place, by the way.
So she's been there.
That's a DC
and
thing.
She's been all over the place. But this is so far beyond that, right? She's been manhandled, bat-handled, Joker-handled.
Bat-handled?
Yeah.
We know she's affected by things because she screams 915 times.
Yeah. Oh, that's
really loud.
Taking pictures of dead bodies, but she'll scream at like a hand in a box.
Which
it's not even. That's a plastic hand.
That's a really good point. Yeah. No, it reads. I mean,
the Joker landed hard.
Sexist is a strong word, but it reads real typical and anachronistic. Like, it doesn't go with what we know about her character. She should be. You're right. Like, she should have. I know you haven't actually watched the movie, but she should have like really. She should have really thick skin, and then just a hand pops up, and then it's like. It's both character traits contradicting each other in the same scene, isn't it? Because it's like, well, she is the badass chick who goes to these, like you said, war-torn countries and takes pictures. So, of course, she's going to open the box without calling in, like, Knox or even a bomb squad or something. Right. But then when it comes out, she can't handle what it is.
Yeah, and it's pretty tame.
You're right.
Dead flowers.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why he did that.
So, the part where he pulls the bag out of his like pocket, that was like the weirdest thing to me as a kid. Where I was like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, and my mom was like, well, you see, the thing is that he was never laughing. When you thought he was laughing, it was just that bag. But I was like,
that is not true.
But I'm pretty sure he was laughing, though. No, that was just the bag.
I don't know if they still have it. Somebody on Etsy makes that prop that does that laugh, and I want
that's
one.
Awesome.
Bad.
So, is the implication the letter from Batman there?
Yeah.
That Harvey Dent is reading.
It's also really sad that, by the way, that Billy D. Williams gets so little to do in this movie.
I meant
He's
to
so
mention
wonderfully
that
well
earlier.
cast, and then you get to the end, and his last line is, "We got a letter from Batman this morning."
Yeah, so Batman sends this letter, and it's like, the Gotham people have earned arrest from crime, but should crime ever arise again? He killed the Joker and a bunch of his goons. Were they all the crime in Gotham? And they didn't even come up until the beginning. So, like, Batman's being negligent at best.
Well, a lot of the organized crime, though, because keep in mind that
it wasn't organized until, like, Jack Napier was doing shady stuff, but, like, it didn't. I guess he was already doing shady stuff.
Yeah.
But he wasn't all organized.
Well, it's not
crime.
like he killed everybody in that room.
Yeah, somebody would rise to the power, I feel like.
I'm glad you're dead guy, so.
Like, I killed the Joker, problem solved. I blew up Axis Chemicals, just tainted the water supply for Gotham City.
Well, everybody seems fine that he just, I've said this before, but everybody seems fine with he dropped the guy off a building.
Right.
Hey, thanks, Batman! Like, nobody knows what exactly he did. Yeah, like, it seems like he just murdered a guy, dropping him off a building.
I mean, this is, this version of Gordon.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I cannot buy, and that comic series is a mixed bag, but there's still 2 issues left, so I'm withholding judgment till it's over.
You've read past the first issue?
I have. I've read through.
Last time I talked to you, you said, you had.
I've caught up now. I went ahead and read up to present today in case it came up tonight, but apparently the artist had a real tough bout with COVID and had to take off and hasn't been drawing. Yeah, so that's why it's so late.
Correct now.
But one of the things I don't buy in that, like, it's cool, but that Gordon is a lot more competent and is working with Batman as like the guy in the chair, and they have like a radio link up thing, and I do. Yeah, it's interesting. I do like that Harvey Dent is mad at Gordon for working with Batman and taking, everything in this vigilante direction. And so there's kind of some pushback that Gordon is, if not incompetent, misguided. So that's good. But yeah, he seems way too competent. Because Returns counts in that, is the thing. Forever and Batman and Robin don't, but Returns counts. And there's some writing in that that's a little too Returnsy. Yeah, because Catwoman's in it, she comes back, the Shrek department store is all over it, like, Returns counts.
Okay, yeah, because I just assumed it was just 89. So that's interesting.
No, it's weird that it's called 89, because Returns is in there, and that wouldn't be the year, but then it's not like the movie takes place exactly in 1989. It is weird that there's a reference to PlayStation in it. There's like a fake PlayStation that they call Game Station. It looks just like a PlayStation, and I'm like, that doesn't come out until, what, 98? Like, that's...
Well, it wasn't a reference to PlayStation. It's your one viewer.
Oh, right. Yeah. Nice of them to put that guy in there. That's really funny. I forgot we have a viewer named Game Station. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
At what age did you introduce Jason to this movie?
Real early.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he was like a week old, Cap was like, my child. I can't have a child that hasn't seen Batman.
My mom was real leery of me seeing this at 5 or 6, the age I was when it came out, because especially back then, before we're as desensitized to a lot of violence and stuff as we are now, this does not feel as tame in 89 as it does in 2022. But
which is interesting, even coming out that summer, like you got something like License to Kill, which I think is way more violent than 89 is.
Well, every parent's gonna draw lines in different places.
No, for sure.
And so yeah, it didn't feel too rough to me to show it to Jason at an early age, but every kid's different in what they can handle.
Yeah, I don't think there's really anything in 89 that I would hesitate for like a younger kid to watch.
There was a character named Cap that rolled through the credits. I didn't see who played them, but do you know that character?
I don't know.
But yeah, I was going to say earlier we were talking about Billy D. Williams. I always thought it was weird that they didn't bring him back for the second movie.
Yeah, I think it's because of the number of characters. Because when you listen to Burton talk about that movie, he's just constantly talking about how concerned they were about putting too many characters in that movie. Whereas we've got 2 villains now, so like we can't have Robin because there's too many characters. And I think that was more just because he was not interested in that character. But his excuse is too many characters, and that's probably what he would say about the Billy D. Williams thing too. And then the rumor I've always heard, the urban legend, because I don't know how true this is, with Batman Forever is Billy D. Williams was supposed to be Two-Face in that, and they tried the makeup test, and they couldn't make it look good with his complexion.
Oh,
and
weird.
so they recast him. But I don't know how true that is. And like now you wouldn't even think about it. Like, you know, makeup technology and CG and stuff has come such a long way. But I think it really was just we don't know how to make that makeup look good on a black man, and so they recast him. But I don't know if that's actually what really happened or not.
Boy, that'd be really unfortunate if that were the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I heard the urban legend was that Billy D. Williams dropped Johnny Gobbs off a rooftop, so they had to recast it.
Weird that he never did any prison time for that. I don't know what that's about.
Celebrities, man, they commit crimes different than we do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, it's sort of like how Tony Stark's broke is not the same as our broke.
Exactly. You mean Bruce Wayne's?
No. I mean that was a reference to a comic thing. They did that in Iron Man during the Fraction run, where.
Okay. I was thinking of because it was almost word for word that line from Rises, where Catwoman's like.
I guess she does say something like that.
Go broke the same as we do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, she does say that. But yeah, but in Fraction's run, he loses his company and is broke, but then he's still creating new Iron Man technology. And there's a line about it where somebody's like, "I thought you were broke," and he's like, "Well, that doesn't mean the same thing for me that it does for other people." And that was the cop-out line. It was really funny.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've read a ton of Iron Man, but I haven't gotten to Fraction yet.
AMC, I never thought of that. You know what's strange? Thanks for all the comments tonight, man. Really good ones. Dent's running for mayor in this, and then there's a different mayor in the next film, so I guess he lost.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
I think the real thing is that Tim Burton is not interested in this as a continuity.
Well, I think I've always heard that they tried to do like tests with him in a mayor sash, and they just couldn't get it to work visually, so they just got a new mayor.
We just don't know how to make a mayor slash look good on a black man. God,
I don't know about that guy.
And you know, sash technology in movies has come a real long way.
Exactly.
Since
That's why in the Lego Batman movie they finally gave him his mayor sash when they brought back Billy D. Williams for Harvey Dent.
But yeah, he turns into Two-Face in that comic series, and it's
I
so,
assumed he would be the main villain.
So yeah, yet another. Yeah, it's funny because we don't. It happens so late. It feels like the book doesn't have a villain, like for so
weird.
long. Yeah, it is a mixed bag so far. I love that first issue, and then it gets weird.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing. So it's Sam Hamm like once again reinventing Two-Face, and we've had so many of these Two-Face origins now that like trying to come up with something like real original that's never been done before is kind of a tough road to hoe, and. He has this really weird thing where I like the idea. I mean, I won't just full on review this book, but I'll mention this real quick because it's interesting. I like the idea of Harvey Dent becoming Two-Face because of heroism. So, like, he tries to save somebody from a burning building, and that's when he gets his face all messed up. Like he's trying to be a hero and it backfires on him. So, like, that's interesting. But then he has this really weird... I still can't tell if it's a dream sequence or what in the world is going on. He has this weird thing where we fast forward a year, and he doesn't have a Two-Face face, and everything's going great for him, and he becomes a governor, and like everything's perfect. And then a few pages later, we roll time back, and we see all the things that have actually been going on. And then... a lot of the reason that he has the Two-Face philosophy and he starts flipping his coin is because of the many worlds theory. And the idea that everything you do creates another world where that so the idea is nothing I do matters because somebody else in another universe has done the other thing, and that's why he flips a coin.
Wow,
that's bizarre.
It's bizarre.
That's a Schrodinger's Two-Face.
It's so it's so strange, and I can't decide how I feel about it yet. And I don't know why we did it with that one. I don't know why 89 Two-Face is like... All of a sudden, we're talking about multiverse in Batman 89. I'm like, hold on! What is going on?
Well, it's because that book will probably set up the Flash movie. But,
I don't think we're actually looking at real alternate universes. I think it's all in his head. But I don't know that for sure. And it's like... A Harvey Dent from another universe comes to him and is like, I'm from another universe. And then he wakes up, and I'm like, now I'm having that Snyder BVS thing. I don't know if I was looking at it in a dream or not.
What is it, Batman No Way Home, then?
It's so strange. Yeah, we're not supposed to talk about that. It's so strange.
That's so weird, yeah. That's bizarre.
When it's finished and I finally get to review it, you've got to look at it, Austin.
Yeah, no, I would really like to read that. Because when they announced it, I initially thought it was an ongoing, and it wasn't until you told me it was just a miniseries. But my first thing when they announced it was, okay, Sam Hamm's coming back. So I'm guessing that Two-Face will probably be the villain, because we never really got that with Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
And Robin 100% will show up.
Yeah, and he does.
Sam Hamm keeps, doing that. And I'm also going to guess that Batman at some point will ride a horse.
That's what I assumed. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, well, it'll be towards the end.
Yeah.
Has Robin suited up yet?
Yes.
Okay, I wondered because I'm pretty
Kind
sure
of.
this Robin thing is the same in both scripts, like 1 and 2, where it's like he shows up at the end to save Batman. So I assumed they would do that.
No, it happens earlier, but he does save Batman.
Okay, of course.
But yes, that does happen,
Batman.
but it's earlier, yeah.
Yeah.
And they do a whole urban spin on it, which is kind of what he did in his script, but he has a Black Robin in this, and they have a whole like kind of race angle with Two-Face, and they just full on make it about all that.
Oh, okay. Is it Eddie Murphy as Robin?
No, it's not an actor because it's a comic book.
No, but sometimes don't they do that sometimes with those comics, or am I wrong about that?
I mean, you'd have to pay for likenesses and stuff. It doesn't happen very often.
Oh, okay.
And
I
even
guess
if
you
it
pay for my likeness.
and even if it did, it would be really strange because you basically have to go back and find like who's the 16, 17-year-old kid in 92, 93 that should play this role. Like I don't even know who that would be back then.
Well, I just thought Eddie Murphy because that's who it was supposed to be, wasn't it? Or no, it's not Eddie Murphy. It was Marlon Wayans?
So there was talk about Eddie Murphy as a Robin before '89 when there was a hokier, more jokey script going around, or jokey concept. I don't know if there was ever actually a script written, but yeah, that was always like a comedy version. There never would have been a serious Batman movie where he's Robin.
The next thing they got to do though is the Robin Williams is the Riddler. If they continue that, because that's what I guess Burton wanted.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's what I've heard. Apparently, he approached Robin Williams for Joker in the first movie.
Oh wow!
And then they got Jack Nicholson instead. So then he went to Robin Williams for the Riddler, and Robin Williams was like, "No,
no,
you guys talked to me last time."
AMC says, we're talking about that Robin, who's strangely not Dick Grayson, so there's a bit of the Dark Knight Rises version of things in that. Yeah, it's true, and yeah, his name is, if memory serves, I think his name is supposed to be Drake as a first name. And he's like a cobbled together version of different Robins.
Oh, weird.
Kind of. I'm not sure.
It's funny because isn't a drake a different type of bird?
He's Drake Kelly.
Oh, and the way he comes up with his name is weird too. It's real convoluted because there's like he's got birds, but then somebody thinks that when he saves somebody that he's trying to like rob a store, like he's robbing the place, and that's how he comes up with the name.
The second you said his name is weird, that was exactly
yeah.
what my mind went
Oh, he's
to.
robbing the place.
I was like, is it gonna be something where it's like, oh, you're robbing something? I can't believe I called that in my head.
That's nuts. So anyway, now I'm just reviewing that book. It's mixed. It's a mixed bag. It's weird, but like I said,
I've
I'm not.
just been waiting for it to finish.
And so far, I hate the Catwoman scenes. I wish she wasn't in the. It's like it just turns into Batman Returns whenever she shows up, and I'm like, yeah, and then it's kind of back to more sensical writing after that, and I'm like, why is she even here? It's a whole thing. I'll show you a panel. It's real weird. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed our little silly April Fool's Day joke. I've been planning another Batman 89 commentary for a long time, and I thought this was probably the way to do it. This may not be the last time we do this, because I'm not tired of it yet, and I keep thinking of more things to say.
You've got to get to 89 viewings of this movie, and then never do
That
it
will
again.
finally be the video that gets 0 views.
Batman 89, 0 views.
The 89th commentary of Batman 89.
It's
No,
cool
you know
that-
what I want to see? Your when like eventually when you have that many commentaries. In fact, it could even be the 89th one. It's just you could have like. So it's come to this, the Batman 89 clip show.
I feel like we're past 89 commentaries already, though, over the years.
You just like edit clips from each one in an order so that it fits the whole movie.
Clips from each of the
Oh,
commentaries.
that's actually a fun idea. Yeah. That sounds like work.
Oh, you can just like hire Jason to do it.
That's a good point.
The point of having kids
That's-
is you can make them do things.
why you
and
have
to
kids.
Pay it.
Yeah. And
Yes,
I have
you know.
lots of kids, so after a while, like I'll have like I can have a whole factory going on if I really want to.
Exactly. That's why I've always said have as many kids as you can, because the older ones eventually will have to like raise the new ones, and then you don't have to do any work.
Yep, that's the big master horrifying plan.
Exactly.
We shouldn't have told anybody about that. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Brandon, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
I hope
that
you
was
had fun
fun.
watching that.
It was good.
I'm sorry some of your questions blindsided me because I'm like, oh man, that's such like a basic Batman question.
Well, but
So,
you
like, I
know
could
that
be here all night trying to answer this.
just as so long as I don't ask them the next time. I think.
Oh no, it's cool. I wasn't.
Just remember, I'm gonna have a first time for asking that question on most things.
Well, and I'm not trying to give you crap for not knowing things about Batman.
No.
But I'm sitting here thinking about like the audience that does.
Yeah,
and then,
I
like,
know, I'm not
And then like
them.
you being like a newcomer with certain things, and then me going like, I have this thing in my brain where I'm like trying to wrestle with, okay, I'm gonna repeat things I've said 1,000 times.
Sure.
But I'm trying to catch Brandon up to speed without annoying people that already know this stuff.
And then there's
and
me
then
with-
also you'll ask a question that basically sounds like a blue book test question, where like it could be the whole video really easily, but I don't want to be a jerk and not answer it.
But
So
sometimes I have
that's why I
insights.
kept. Well, sure, but that's why I kept going back to that, where I'm like,
oh, of
you know.
course. Well, yeah, school me like a school book. Like that's fine.
like a school book.
Yeah, sure. Like a textbook.
All right, we'll see you later, folks. Thanks for being here.
Oh man, give me a Batman workbook.
I'm taking the weekend off. I'll be back with more
Coloring
videos
book.
next week, and Captain Logan Show back Thursday night. Austin and I are going to, if things stick to the plan, if we're able to get the three of us together, we're going to be doing a review of the first trade of Nightfall. Finally talking about that in more of a macrocosm kind of way on Friday night with Kareem. So look forward to that. Hopefully that still comes together, and lots more stuff coming your way. Thanks for watching.
Are we gonna do After Dark next week or the week after?
I'm not sure yet.
All right.
I think next week. Anyway, see you later, folks.